Good evening, my fellow Americans. This is your President Samuel Ronan speaking, and today is Domestic Affairs Tuesday, and we, as always, have a lot to cover. It seems as this administration is bending over backwards to find new and more imaginative ways to distract from the Epstein files, which are, of course, still not being released and still quite being talked about. So everything from his health being released, from the Obama conspiracy, and everything else in between is now being thrown at us at rapid-fire pace, all so that we can maybe, just maybe, forget that he's on the Epstein list, that he's protecting people on the Epstein list, that his Congress is preventing Congress from releasing the Epstein list, and that people want to know what is and who is on the Epstein list. On a slightly different note, however, the Ozman, Ozzy Osbourne himself, the Dark Prince of music, has actually passed away. And I know that seems odd for a political channel, and I have seen quite a few posts saying that he was pro-Israel or pro-Zionist or what have you. And you would think, well, Sam, you are vehemently anti-Zionist. Why would you give him a eulogy? Well, there's a difference between an artist who did drugs for 40 years and was most notably known for that, his music, and for being pro-LGBT than any of his other political beliefs. If he was a Zionist, that doesn't change the fact that he has made a lasting impact in both music, the industry, and in support of the LGBT community. See, unlike Gal Gadot, who is unrepentantly Zionist and in supporting of Israel, I'm not going to claim that Ozzy Osbourne even knew what Israel was doing on a regular basis. That being said, my childhood, my background, my backing, if this is the one closet or skeleton that you guys want to hold against me, feel free to do so. But I truly feel a certain sorrow that we've lost one of the great artists of our time. I was just as sad when we lost Prince and Michael Jackson. So that's all I really wanted to say on him. He's obviously not political. This is not a music channel. So whether you agree or disagree, pour one out for the Ozman, bite off a little bat head, rubber bat head. As for politics, though, we do have a very, very full list. I think I finally fixed the lighting issue that we've been having. Although now I kind of look like I'm in a soap opera. Like, oh, hello, Anna. Sorry, wasn't trying to ignore you there. But it is funny, in a sense, because of what I was about to say. So Ana La Diosa is, as you can imagine, of Hispanic descent. And I feel like I'm in a Spanish soap opera. Maria. Por quién? Maria. No. I don't know. That's my audition for the next Spanish soap opera. Just with the lighting the way that it happens to be. So, let's get a little serious here. It looks like there's been a lot of information coming about autism recently, which is great because I am, as you can unimaginably tell, on the spectrum. Maybe this will tell us why. People tearing into Tulsi, the WNBA players demanding equal pay. Of course, fascism. The crypto bill, Genius Act. More fascism. And, we got a bunch of stuff. So I think we can jump right... Oh. If you haven't seen this gentleman was brutally attacked during a routine traffic stop in Jacksonville, and everybody, to include the media and the sheriff's office, is trying to blame him for their violence, even though he's literally sitting there like this. So, onward to that. We're definitely going to be covering that as well. Just a 1 minute little quick aside. I got to read what Anna wrote here. Samuel Antonio Pedro Manuel Ronan de la Rueda. Did I say that right? Here, let me say it. Let me say it properly. Samuel Antonio Pedro Manuel Ronan de la Rueda. That'll be my Spanish soap opera stage name. I guess if politics doesn't work out, I can always be a phone sex operator with fake Spanish.
Aluminum in vaccines causes autism? I'm sure you've heard that before, and a massive 24-year study proved otherwise. Researchers followed over 1.2 million children in Denmark to find out if the tiny amounts of aluminum in childhood vaccines could be linked to like autism, asthma, or 50 other chronic health conditions. And the results was that shockingly, there was no increased risk. In fact, for every additional 1 milligram of aluminum exposure before the age of 2, the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders like autism and ADHD slightly decreased. So why is aluminum in vaccines to begin with? So it's actually used as an adjuvant, which basically it boosts the immune response. So kids need fewer shots with less antigen. And while the average vaccine schedule delivers about 4.4 milligrams of aluminum in the first 6 months of life, babies actually get more from breast milk, formula, and soy formula. Just to give you some perspective on it, for a baby that's soy fed, they ingest about 117 milligrams of aluminum. And this study also answers a lot of questions left open by US research, including one that raised concerns about asthma. It didn't control key factors like breastfeeding, pollution, or family history. And that's what makes the Danish study so powerful. Nationwide healthcare records and consistent vaccine tracking over 2 decades. This study is groundbreaking and should reassure parents and empower clinicians that aluminum vaccines are safe.
Did you know that you can have permanent teeth in just 24 hours? That's
hold on. I have the perfect response to this. I got to build up to it. Hold on a second. Lo siento mucho por ese error. I guess with me picking up the microphone, I hit the button. Anyway, I think it's hilarious that I'll just go through the whole spiel again. I think it's hilarious that the vaccines with aluminum actually make it less likely for you to have the TISM or any defect for that matter. So is that going to change the anti-vax movement opinion at all? No. Let's be honest. That's if logic and reason and science and medicine actually mattered to these people, they wouldn't be anti-vax in the first place. But for those of us who are interested in the science and the medicine and so on and so forth, that is very interesting. That is actually very interesting. But, you know, my background is German, and if you've ever been to Germany and spoken with a German, I think the whole country is autistic. Like, I think what happened was, during the African migration, right? And then they go this way and that way and all across to North America. It was the autistic versions of whatever came from Africa that stayed in the center of Europe, right? And as time went on, the weirdos, you know, got pushed away out of society, from all corners of Europe, right? And all these weirdos who love to count things and didn't know what trains were at the time, but were like, man, I really wish all of us could ride horses all at once going the same direction with the wind blowing in our hair. I bet that would be awesome. All of these people across those Roman roadways that were designed to carry and transport chariots, which is exactly why cars are the length that they are, the width that they are, and trains are the width that they are, was like, man, this is going to be so based in about 2,000 years when there's this transportation that allows us to go that. And because it came from all corners of the empire, it all converged in Germany. And I think that's why every German is autistic. That's my headcanon. I don't know where the science is to prove that, but I'm almost 99% convinced that I'm correct. Excuse me. all of which is to say, I am curious to see what this other autism real or short has to say.
No link between aluminum salts and vaccines, an increased risk of 50 chronic conditions, including allergies and autism. In the U.S., aluminum salts are used in vaccines for tetanus, HPV, and hepatitis B. The study tested more than 1 million people in Denmark. It followed people born from 1997 through 2018 and ended in 2020.
There it is.
They don't believe how toxic this is.
I wanted to go back to
a new study published in the
this
U.S.
lady.
Aluminum
Hold on.
salts are used in vaccines for tetanus, HPV, and
this lady right here. Like, damn. Can you go a little? It's a little sticky, pointy boy. You're trying to jam that right into the bone. I don't know what this bone is called, but that looked awful. And this lady who was receiving it, right? This lady right here is also a lady, is just taking this needle into her shoulder like a champ, not even flinching. I'm like, bruh, women be built different. Like, this is no joke. Like, that is some hardcore, like, I could never. They did that to me with the COVID vaccine. The text said that it was supposed to go in the shoulder. Yeah, but like in the meat of the shoulder, not the bone. Like, I don't know how, I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, right? So I'm a little big bodied, right? But like, I'm pretty sure my bone still isn't this thick. Crazy. And you didn't cry? Or I would have cried. I would have cried tears. Absolutely, like on the ground in the fetal position. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have flinched away from him. Like, no. In the bone? Yeah, my eyes watered up. Yeah, women are built different. Women are the weaker sex. Women are so weak in emotion. This woman just got stabbed in the shoulder with a sharp, pointy metal object, and all that happened was her eyes watered. You can't fucking tell me some special forces dude with like ripped, macho muscle man over there wouldn't cry like a little fucking girl for getting a little needle in the bone. Nah. Wow. I did not expect our stream to take a left turn this quickly, but damn. Let's do the WNBA. For one, there isn't much on it, but for those of you that don't know or don't really care, the WNBA is the Women's National Basketball Association, and ever since Caitlin Clark became a member, they've been doing significantly better. The problem is, it's doing better solely because of Caitlin Clark. Like, an overwhelming majority of the revenue boost that the WNBA has experienced is when Caitlin Clark is playing. Now, is that fair to all the other players who are just as talented, if not more so? No, it is not fair. But that is the rub. I mean, that is the way that it is. And what's happening is a lot of people are having an opinion on that subject because the WNBA is underpaid and they are subsidized by the NBA, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And of that multi-billions of dollars, they're paying $25 million to the entire WNBA, which realistically, the WNBA isn't profitable, hasn't been profitable, continues to not be profitable. And that's what all of the people's opinions are saying is, well, if it were so popular and profitable, then they wouldn't need to be asking for raises. They could just get the raises, or they could get the endorsements and get the supplemental pay that way. But the reality is that's just not how that works. So, yeah, it was difficult to find a video that wasn't extremely misogynistic. Exactly. Hola, apolitical, you missed my Spanish soap opera audition. Even in this video, the comments section is super sexist, and I don't throw those terms around lightly. No, I do. So, it is important for just generally for the WNBA that they should get the recognition that they deserve, right? but it's also worker solidarity, right? The workers of the world should unite, okay? I'm not saying the WNBA needs to be paid $1 million, but guess what? The worst NBA player in the NBA is still getting paid $990,000. I know that because I looked it up. The next worst player is making $1 million, and then it goes like 1.15, and then it's like a dozen of them making 1.17, of which Bronny Jr., James, whatever, is also making $1.157 million, and he's objectively not good. Bronny James is objectively a bad basketball player compared to the rest of the NBA that's out there. He was objectively a bad player in college as well. And he is still making over $1 million for being in the NBA. So, for context, one of the worst players in the NBA is making over $1 million, and one of the best players, Angel Reese, I believe, who is Caitlin Clark's arch rival and nemesis, is only making $75,000. And she has rebound records. Of course, everybody wants to make fun of her. They're her own rebounds or whatever else. But the thing is, she's putting up numbers. She's holding her own in the league. Caitlin Clark is holding her own in the league. And then there's plenty of other people that are holding their own in the league that are maybe pushing six figures. And that's not okay when the worst NBA player is making over $1 million. Well, that's because that makes money. No, because we live in a very patriarchal and misogynistic society where men, who are the primary consumers of sports, disparage against female athletes unless they can sexualize them. So the good news is with the WNBA, it is generating more interest broadly, and it's generating more male interest broadly as well. And not because of sexualization, but because of genuine interest. So all of these things combined justifies the WNBA. Like, hey, we are growing, we are becoming performant. It is going to take time. Plus, we're dealing with a cultural issue. And so what if the NBA is subsidizing it? You could literally slash Bronny James Jr.'s fucking salary by 3/4, and he'd still be making triple what Angel Reese made. And objectively, comparatively, Angel Reese is in the top 15, 20 WNBA players right now. Caitlin Clark is in the top 10. Bronny is literally in the bottom 10. Literally in the bottom 10 of the entire NBA. And he's making seven figures. So, no, objectively speaking, in terms of quality, in terms of skill, in terms of value and worth, how many seats are being filled because of Bronny? 0. But there are people coming to these games for Angel Reese, for Caitlin Clark, for, I forget her name now, but the blonde basketball player who fought on Caitlin's behalf, and then Garner. I don't remember her first name, but she was the Russian captive, got traded, and is also now back. And she is, I think, the number 1 seeded WNBA player. So, like, there are plenty of talented and renowned players in the league that are being paid literally a fraction of the worst players in the NBA who have no name recognition or latent talent. So, all of that to say,
25 WNBA All-Star Game, the players walked out with a surprise t-shirt. The shirt said, "Pay us what you owe us," a direct message to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the league that they are not playing around. Now, what that shirt essentially means is, hey, we're currently in CBA negotiations with you, and we mean business. The players are on a united front. This is 40 players that recently met with the commissioner and other league leadership this weekend at WNBA All-Star, and they are speaking for the collective representative of players that they want more for themselves. They deserve more for themselves. Now, what happens next is the meetings will continue, conversations will continue, but players have essentially said, we are not budging.
First, we offer
And they
overnight
shouldn't.
boarding.
Again, and this is the part that's really missed, I'm going to say. And I'll get to your question, Apolitical. I didn't miss it. Although you're right about the Nepo baby. You're absolutely right about that. So, what we are seeing with the WNBA and them demanding better pay, better benefits, so on and so forth, and being met with immediate backlash is the entire problem with worker solidarity in the United States of America. Every single AEW, IE 401, blah, 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 workers, teamsters, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, laborers, whatever guild, whatever unions are out there, there's several dozen in America. Each and every single one of those unions, teachers' unions, should be clamoring and screaming for solidarity with the WNBA. And conversely with each other. Every single union in this country should be working together to lift us all up. Not just their own union, and not just the unions that they work with, right? So, like, teachers have no skin in the game when it comes to electricians or the welders or the nurses or whatever else, right? They have no skin in the game. They're teachers, right? But teachers and welders and nurses and the WNBA and are all union workers. That means they are allies to each other. And now, how many union members are there in the country? That would be an interesting statistic. How many union members in the USA 2025? Approximately 14.3 million wage and salary workers belonging to unions. Fun fact, that is more than the 3% we need to affect a genuine social and political change in this country. A sustained strike of every union worker in the country for 90 days is exactly what we need. And the fact that these aren't the conversations that are happening amongst unions is what's the problem, right? That is the entire issue here. And the fact that the WNBA is being drowned out or pushed out or ignored or being ridiculed and reviled when there are 14.3 million brothers and sisters and thems that could and should stand in solidarity with the WNBA is a failure of not just the unions, but us as a society. It is a failure of our society to not stand united with the worker. The worker should always be stood beside. I don't give a shit what your job is. If you're striking or demanding better pay, I will stand with you. I don't care if it's an outrageous request. Oh, you flip burgers at McDonald's and you want to make six figures? Good. Yes. First of all, the cojones on you to get enough people in your union to agree that that's what the six figures should be. Wow. Impressive. That is inspirational. Like, my heart goes out to you. Are you going to get that? Absolutely fucking not, because of our economy and the corporations and capitalism. So that'll never fucking happen. But you know what's crazy? It might, if the other 14.3 million union workers stood beside you. And that's what people fail to realize. We had a general strike in 2020 during COVID when we were forced to stay home. That is insane. We had it, and it went through our fingers because capitalists convinced us that we needed to go back to work and for less and not to work remotely, right? So I clearly don't have the messaging magic yet to convince you to tell everyone that you know, to tell everyone they know, and so on and so forth, until we have the workers of the world, that we do not have to play by these fucking rules. We never have. We never have had to play by these rules. But we are led to believe because, well, if I go on strike, then I can't pay rent. And if I can't pay rent, then I don't have a home, and then I'm homeless, and then. Okay. They can't evict everybody. They can't fire everybody. And if we stand our ground, what are they going to do? If there's no scabs, because we're all in solidarity, everything comes to a screeching halt. That is the message. It's how to convince you of that message being real. Obviously, the couple dozen of us and telling your couple dozen friends, maybe we get to a couple score. We need to build that ripple effect. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with us right here, right now. But it also includes standing in solidarity with those that are currently doing it. And if more of us did, if more of us would, it could absolutely make the difference. Not a difference, the difference. Any strike at any time could be the fire that ignites the powder keg of workers' uprising. And that is what we need. Sure, we can talk about electoralism, and we will, because I'm the president, right? Sure, we can talk about activism and protests, and we will. But that doesn't change the fact that the most direct action any of us could take is to refuse to labor under these conditions. Right. How would I solve the salary issue of the WNBA? Well, as president, I could intervene. Enough said. In my current capacity, it's exactly what I just spent the past 5 or so minutes doing. The female volleyball team in my school was way more popular than the boys team because we had sexy uniforms and boys and men liked to stare at our butts. The girls' basketball and softball teams were just as good, but their butts weren't out, so they weren't as popular. And see, the worst part is you're talking about high schoolers. And the worst part about that is we can sexualize children and teenagers in this country until or unless you're poor. See, that's the part that really fucking kills me, because it's enabling pedophilia. It is. And then you have powerful people that are on the Epstein list, like Donald Trump, like Elon Musk, like Obama and the Clintons. They're on the list. I don't know necessarily that everyone I just mentioned was on the island, but they were on the flight logs. And that's the point. And as a society, we sexualize girls from the moment they are pretty much born. And yet somehow we clutch our pearls when it comes to trafficking, but not pageants, not forcing toddlers to wear bikinis, not making teenage girls wearing tight short pants and playing volleyball, not athletic Olympic athletes, just the best female athletes in the world being forced to wear bikinis and thongs to run, to play volleyball, to do any sport ever. Like, we just cannot help ourselves. And we even lambast them if they complain. Like, who the fuck decided that a man can wear a tank top and loose shorts, but a woman has to wear a skin-tight thong and bra in order to perform the same activity? So, feminism is deeply needed. And the hatred against women, but the sexualization and exploitation of them, is entirely the problem. Now, thankfully, the WNBA hasn't been quite sexualized yet. But I can only imagine as the culture becomes infested with more men, that will eventually be pressured. Oh, why aren't the women wearing sexier, tighter fitting shirts? You know, why aren't they running around like this? Well, okay, this is already kind of tight on me, but you get where I'm going with this. You know, I'm sure a lot of those basketball players are extremely fit, probably have really strong legs, glutes, abdomens, and arms. So we're not that far away from forcing them to wear booty shorts and tight tops. And why is that okay? So before that happens, if the WNBA can secure their salary, their wages, and their benefits, then that sets the tone that they will also be able to determine their agency, their uniforms, and their presentation on the court. And that is why workers, solidarity, and unions are important. You think OSHA was made because capitalists felt bad that people were losing their fingers and dying at work? No. It was because unions formed, and then unions forced the federal government to create OSHA, or else they weren't going to make our bridges, our roads, our schools, our weapons. OSHA exists because of unions, as does labor laws, as does the weekend, as does any number of things, the minimum wage, because they fought for it. Workplace safety is a guaranteed right because of unions. But anymore, that's getting stripped away. Anymore, you have to fight tooth and nail to get the safety stuff that you need, the tools that you need, the training that you need. And it is because unions have waned. So, we can live our best lives when we work together. Is union necessarily the correct answer? The only answer? No. Labor rights and labor laws are clearly the right answer. But even that is not a guarantee. Because, as we are seeing with this administration, if you have a complicit Supreme Court, a complicit House, and a complicit Senate with your own fascist ideology and agenda, and none of the governors have the testosterone or the testicular fortitude or the ovarian fortitude to stand up to the fascism, guess what? Fascism wins. Your rights are not intrinsic if a bad president with complicit legislative and judicial branches can strip you of them. Especially if you then go out and protest and get arrested or beaten or gassed by the state. You see where I'm going with this? We don't have any rights in America unless we stand our ground and fight for them. And one of the simplest, easiest battles that proves this point is the WNBA union strike showing, where they are demanding fair pay and treatment. My heart goes out to you. Yeah, unlike Elon Musk, who is autistic, I'm not a Nazi. So my heart goes out to you, but I'm never going to accidentally Sieg Heil. So, yeah, he's screwing us out of phrase. Oh, I see. That gave me instant flashbacks. Well, I could just do the Scouts, right? My heart goes out to you. Commander Irwin. Most female sports that people pay attention to are the ones in which women wear skimpy outfits like gymnastics, figure skating, running, tennis. Not that I would have ever done that, because that would be wrong. Do you make sexist jokes? I don't like banning jokes since I made those jokes from time to time, but I think sexist jokes, even made without bad intent, can keep a bad idea of what the role of a woman should be intact. No, I mean, have I made sexist? I grew up in a predominantly white, small American town that was also the seat of the KKK for the state of Ohio. So, I've heard it all. I've witnessed it all. I didn't go out of my way to say those things, but I've probably said some pretty crass jokes in my time. That being said, that's also culture and ignorance. And I don't like repeating them, and I also don't like platforming them, especially now. As well. But it's gotten exponentially worse. Like, there's just too much bad taste with the jokes. And you can tell when a sexist joke is made with malicious intent and not. And more often than not, it is malicious. If I make a sexist joke like, Ana, por favor, me a sandwich. Make rápido. Okay, that's instant karma. I also don't know enough Spanish, but that is a sexist joke. I attempted to tell Anna, who's a woman and Hispanic, to make me a Spanish in Spanish, and then I immediately got karma'd. So, but I obviously don't mean it maliciously, and I have a good enough rapport with her that I can do that. Would I ever do that in public? As in, I mean, okay, this is technically public, so bad. Would I ever do this in an interview? Would I ever do this on national television? Or if we were Hassan levels of stream? No, I would never make those jokes ever again. Probably at around 75 viewers. Once we're what are partner level, I'll probably stop even joking around like that, because at that point I am presenting myself to the public, even if it is, with my hair down and so on and so forth. There's a time and a place for that, and that's usually amongst a small crowd. This channel, at this stage of the channel, we're a close-knit group. So we can be a little bit more crass and relaxed around one another. But it would be ludicrously inappropriate to do so in a truly public setting, or in a way that it could get exported to the masses. So, looks like I'm just trying to make sure that the stream's catching up with everything. Okay, good. So, Why ask me to make a sandwich? I can cook. I can make a meal. That's true, but I don't know how to say that in Spanish. And I also am fairly certain I didn't know how to say what I said in Spanish. So, all right. Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Government departments throughout the Trump administration.
Well, didn't I say Ana, por qué make un sandwich? Make is Spanish for make? That can't be right. Unless that's slang or something. Because, I mean, I guess you could do that. Hacer is make. Yeah, this is saying hazme. Ana, hazme un sandwich, por favor. Anyway, I'll learn my Spanish soap opera language soon enough.
And have been using polygraph tests, or as they're commonly referred to, lie detector tests, to, as we've been told, find out who the damn leakers are. Because that's the only reason is we don't want people leaking sensitive information or embarrassing information, so we're giving everybody a polygraph so that we can find the leakers, and only so we can find the leakers. We're not doing anything else with the polygraphs. Well, according to sources inside the FBI, which of course is being run by Kash Patel,
Noted.
The polygraphs are not actually just being used to find leakers. What they're really doing, straight out of the Project 2025 playbook, is they're giving people polygraphs to determine if they've ever said anything negative about Donald Trump, anything negative about Kash Patel, or just in general, any
he's doing what we're doing right now. Got it. Okay. So, TLDR, our government, the United States of America, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations is conducting loyalty tests on government employees on behalf of this administration. Now, the Federal Bureau of Investigations is literally the top policing agency in America. The head of the FBI is the top cop in the United States of America, Kash Patel. Kash Patel, at the behest of Donald Trump, the president, as much as I loathe to put those words in a sentence next to each other, to conduct loyalty tests on key personnel in the federal government when the federal government is supposed to be an apolitical entity. Obviously, that isn't the case, even prior to this administration. However, loyalty tests is a far cry above partisanship, right? Stacking the deck with loyal party members or party favorites, that's one thing, all right? You're obviously not going to be a Republican and appoint a Democrat or a Green Party or an independent to a position unless you're an actual leader like Eisenhower, and you're going to put the best people in the position because that's what you fucking do. I would. If I became president under whichever party, I would still only appoint people who I felt could do the job the best, irrespective of their party affiliation or political leanings. Now, if you're an outright fascist and like pro-Zionist, you want to be death to Palestine type person, no, you're not going to be on my administration. I don't give a shit how talented you are. But aside from the extremes, if you're the best scientist in the country, I'm going to put you in charge of that science. And if it comes out that you did something terrible, I will then remove you from that position, prosecute you, and throw you into the darkest hole I can find. But that's leadership. What they're doing is way beyond partisanship, way beyond just stacking the deck. Stacking the deck and putting your, handing out favors because you campaigned for me, that's corruption. And that's bad. But that's less bad than... Okay, it is a level of corruption, but kind of like with Brawny, the Nepo baby, right? Bronny can play basketball. He can play basketball than probably anybody else who streams or watches streams. Let's be honest. The man can play ball. He just can't play ball at the level of the NBA. And that has been indicative throughout his entire career and his college career, right? But that doesn't mean I could go up against Bronny. It doesn't mean you can go up against Bronny, right? But Papa is LeBron. So he's going to get his spot, right? And he's good enough to, like, be on the court for a few minutes, I guess. I think he made a couple points. So, I mean, he's good enough to do it at least. So, again, that's what I look at it as. When the president becomes elected and they put their nepotism hires in positions because, well, you scratched my back, I'm going to scratch yours. Corruption? Yes. Acceptable corruption? No. But it is what it is, right? I'm not gonna split hairs because a Republican put their buddy into a position of authority after they won. Like, that's to be expected. Now, when it's horrible is when your donor gets the chair position or the department head chair position, like Elon Musk, who got a whole fucking department with him. But then again, that's what we've been doing with telecom, oil, and gas, and finance, right? We've been putting the former CEOs of oil industries as, like, the Department of Energy chair. Tech giants in the department, like the FCC, right? That's even worse, because now you're just straight up bribing and blackmailing and whatever else, paying your way through, right? So that's bad. That's corruption. That's already bad. We can all agree that that's just indefensibly bad. Here's millions of dollars. I am now the head of the Department of Energy, and my multi-billion-dollar corporation, which is directly contributing to climate change, is going to be deregulated. Horrible. And we've had that since before Reagan. Okay, so we've had this for like well over 50 years, right? I know Anna's been around for a little bit longer than that, but that's not the point. She was there, she remembers. But to truly order your FBI director to do loyalty tests on people that paid their way into the position, who manipulated their way into the position, who got their handouts into the position, and anyone else who might be hired into the position or who has been a career federal employee, to then loyalty test them, that goes from corruption to straight up fascism. Straight. Because you know who the only people who do that are? Dictators and fascists. Monarchs, emperors. They're the ones who surround themselves with loyalists to secure their power. And that is what this administration is doing with Kash Patel. One of the stories in the playlist is about Trump assigning his completely unqualified former lawyer to a lifetime. Right. That's normal corruption. It's still corruption. Still a crime. But that's par for the course. Now you helped me avoid a couple of lawsuits. You did a good job. Here's a judgeship. There you go. You're welcome. But first I need you to sign this document that you'll be loyal to me forever and ever and ever. And if you fail to do so, that's when I will throw you in prison. Like, that's the shit that is happening right now. That's not okay. Even like if when you become president, you appoint me as head of the FBI. Right. Even if I became president, if I put Anna in charge of the FBI, apolitical in charge of NASA, and pop culture in charge of HHS, like, that would straight up be corruption. It's like, well, they were with me from the beginning. They said they agreed with all of my ideas. They debated me a couple times. I like what they had to say. They can handle it. No. No qualifications. That's wrong. That's nepotism. That's corruption. That's par for the course corruption, I suppose. But it would be even worse if I then made you all sign a loyalty agreement or forced you to undergo a polygraph test. And if you weren't loyal to me, then you wouldn't get the position anyway. And then I would ruin your lives on top of that. Like, that is fascism. We haven't gotten that far yet. But yes. The JFK Center, literally named after the president, is getting renamed for Melania now. And Congress went out of its way to make sure that happens. Again, cahoots. Again, loyalty. Again, fascism. When the hell was she ever like some ally for the humanities and arts? Well, sex work is art, right? So, I guess. Oh, and Anna actually said that. Oh, man. That one brain cell we share. Yeah, put me in HHS. I am so OCD. I'm going to keep you all clean. If anything, then that would qualify you for Social Security, don't you think? Make sure everybody fucking pays for stuff. It could be. But I don't even know that they give a shit about religion. I think the only religion they have is the golden calf. All of which is to say. Crypto. That is a good one. I'd like to know more about this from somebody who knows more about it than I do.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks.
All right.
I start by brain dumping everything
Don't care.
President Trump is also taking a victory lap today, signing into law the first ever major federal cryptocurrency legislation. It was passed by the House yesterday and the Senate earlier this week with broad bipartisan support. The so-called Genius Act has been a key priority for the president, once a crypto skeptic who now bills himself as the most pro-crypto commander-in-chief in history and whose family business is building and expanding cryptocurrency empire, even launching a meme coin earlier this year.
So, for context, Jimmy Carter had a peanut farm. When he became president, every motherfucker forced him to sell that peanut farm in order to be president so that there was no even hint of illusion of bias or whatever, right? Trump has his own meme coin, which has already been utilized to wash bribes from other countries and businesses to meet with him already in the White House in Washington, D.C. Whoever donated the most to Trump coin got to have a one-on-one with him. And now his complicit Congress passed a bill that made it to his desk that he could sign to help enrich himself further, as this journalist said, with his own crypto empire. Now that is straight up unmitigated corruption. That's violation of the Emoluments Clause. Using the office to enrich yourself. They are so anti-transforming the country that they want to transform it into a fascist techno dictatorship hellscape. I cannot see how this could be a good idea in anyone's eyes. Maybe if you just like Trump's vibes. Well, here's the thing. I have cryptocurrency. So, hey, the more they want to deregulate it, the better. However, it doesn't change the fact that this is corrupt as shit. And that even if I benefit from it, it doesn't change how corrupt this shit is. I'm just doing this because I love crypto and have a connection to it. Right. For instance, if I signed that very same bill and I had even $10,000 of Bitcoin, by signing that bill, I have violated the Emoluments Clause. And I should be prosecuted for it. Doesn't matter. Well, I only have Bitcoin because I support it. This bill going to make me really rich is just a happy coincidence. Like, no, that's a crime. A crime.
This bill regulates just one specific kind of digital currency called stable coins, aimed at making them more accessible and more mainstream. Here's what Trump said earlier today when he was signing that bill into law.
This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement the American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law.
We want to get right to ABC.
That was the most cohesive thing I've ever heard him say. So he literally read off of that paper, which means all of us who have been saying that the man is illiterate is actually wrong. He can read. I guess when he wants to.
White House correspondent Selena Wang and Coinage host and financial reporter Zach Guzman. Welcome into you both. And Selena, why has the Genius Act been such a key legislative priority of the president's? I mean, at one point there was this question as to whether or not it would even get a vote in the House. It had this procedural stall. And President Trump, as he's done before, got on the phone and worked on holdouts. Why does he care so much?
Is the top right-hand corner person Selena?
About this.
Yeah, Jay, you know the president's strategy very well when it comes to members of Congress. But look, this is something that President Trump had campaigned on. He was once a crypto skeptic. Then he vowed to make America the crypto capital of the world. And on the trail, he had also pushed Congress to take action when it comes to this. And you can see there in the room, the president was surrounded by a lot of top crypto executives. This is a huge...
Yeah. Again, top crypto executives. I thought I didn't recognize any of them because I'm not that familiar with the industry or the people behind the industry. But if you have a bunch of white people in suits surrounding the president, smiling like they just stole candy from a baby and made the mother pay for it while evicting them and charging them overdraft fees, that's a bad sign. That is a bad sign. No sé. Isa no good. Is mucho bad.
Huge win for the cryptocurrency industry. What this does is essentially it creates this regulatory framework for stable coins. These are
they're crypto executives, so they probably do.
Stable, hence the name that's tied to a more stable asset like the U.S. dollar. So the goal here is to make this more mainstream and to make this more accessible. But of course, this hasn't come without controversy. President Trump and his family, they are all in on this industry. They've got several business ventures that includes a meme coin, a Trump meme coin, a Bitcoin mining firm, as well as a crypto reserve. And there's a company that the Trump family has a 60% stake in, World Liberty Financial. And earlier this year, they issued their own stable coin. So some Democrats have been arguing that President Trump's family would directly benefit from this bill. Now, the White House has insisted that there are no conflicts of interest here.
What do you mean? What do you mean there are no conflicts of interest? She just listed 5 of them. 5! What the fuck? So as the President of the United States of America, I happen to have a meme coin, a stable coin, a cryptocurrency exchange, as well as heavily invested in my own stablecoin and other cryptocurrency products. But I swear, I declare by my grandmother's mother's grave, rest your soul, great-grandma, I have no stake whatsoever in the passing of the bill that will directly impact and streamline all the aforementioned policies and assets that I myself possess and develop so that I could one day sign this bill into law. I would never take advantage of the American people, nor would I ever have a conflict of interest as president of these United States. Like, seriously? Really? I mean, I might have been born at night, but I wasn't born last night. The man has 5 vested interests with cryptocurrency. His own fucking coin, his own exchange, and his own stable coin. And then 2 other investment things. Okay, maybe it was 3 or 4. Whatever. 5 must be a nice number for me. I don't know. Choo-choo. How is that bill not a conflict of interests? That bill was written with every single one of his interests in mind. That literally every part of his crypto asset portfolio is covered under this act that he just signed into law with those ghouls above him. Bruh. Be for real right now.
Assets are managed by a trust, one that's managed by the president's children, Jay.
So, Zach, in Washington, D.C. here, there have been crypto ads pretty much block by block from different firms. I work on Capitol Hill every day, as Selena said. I'm only guest hosting in this chair. And there have been an army of crypto lobbyists on Capitol Hill in the last few weeks. If you didn't know any better, you would think this bill was about all crypto everywhere under the sun. But it's not. It's just about stable coins. So why does this bill have such a fervor across the industry? What is it?
We'll get into that. I'll answer your question. As president, what would I do about crypto? Glad you asked. And that actually answers your question too, Political. What do I like about crypto? Personally, I actually like the technology, the blockchain technology. Cryptocurrency is a byproduct of the technology itself. The technology being an intrinsically secure algorithm that uses different forms of validation, whether that's mining, whether that's having multiple people in the network, whether it's nodes or something else, to validate the information that's in the network, and then combines that validation across every transaction that ever occurs, which means it should be, on principle, intrinsically safe, intrinsically secure, and immutable, meaning once you add something to the blockchain, it can never be deleted. So if you're filing taxes, if you're voting, and you're using a blockchain technology, there is no possible way to commit fraud. None. There's no way to commit fraud against you, right? Like nobody can just steal your information and you can prove like, no, I was on block 1 million, blah, 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 section blah, blah, blah. So this is mine. This is proof of my asset, right? And it's also extremely easy to verify the information that's in there, right? Because if it's there, it counts. Now, where it gets a little wobbly is that it's not traceable, right? That's the whole point, security. That's why it had a huge use in the deep web amongst criminal organizations. And that might be another reason why the Trump coin has so much popularity, especially for the corruption aspect of it, because there's no proof that you can't tie that address to anybody in the world by name, by anything, unless you do some severe digital forensics to trace the IP address, right? And then you're getting into a whole other can of worms. But the technology itself, I think it's fantastic. I wish that would have been what got blown up instead of AI. Because right now AI is dumbing everybody down and ruining just about every industry in the world. But blockchain could have been a revolutionary technology that made digital assets and infrastructure both secure and accessible. That's why I personally like it. It's also a get-rich-quick scheme, and if you haven't noticed, the left does not have any fucking money. So if those of us who are brazen enough and happen to have the extra income to invest should, before October 6th, because that seems to be when the next peak is, this isn't investment advice, this is what I am doing myself personally. That being said, I agree that cryptocurrency is a scam, like the currency aspect of it. It is a scam, it is volatile, it is high risk. But it should never be regulated by the government because it isn't a business. It isn't an entity. It is a technology. It is a service. It is a thing. It would be like regulating if I bought pretzels and then sold them individually, but then on a market and then I have to pay capital gains tax. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. But I'm also of the mind that all industries should be publicly owned, and that goes into a whole different can of worms. Cryptocurrency is only relevant as a medium of exchange because of the way capitalism is. But functionally, it's no different than WoW currency or Final Fantasy VII Gil or Final Fantasy XIV Gil. It's no different than any other in-game currency. The difference is you can export that currency and convert it into dollars. That is literally the functional difference between in-game currency and cryptocurrency in the way it works. But it's the interaction with the actual blockchain technology, which is the intent behind cryptocurrency. It is being used as a byproduct to do everything else under the sun. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not against the technology at all. I'm also not necessarily against cryptocurrency. I think the government should have no involvement in it whatsoever. We shouldn't be encouraging its use. We shouldn't be discouraging its use. We shouldn't be buying it. We shouldn't be regulating it. We shouldn't be doing anything with it. We should be doing nothing with it. We should not be accepting payments. We should be not making payments. There should be no interaction whatsoever with cryptocurrency whatsoever from an official government capacity. Well, Sam, that's the future. The future is crypto. The financial revolution is upon us. And if the governments don't get involved, isn't that going to undermine those governments' currency? Okay. Explain to me how the US dollar is actually any different from a real Bitcoin. How is the US dollar different from Bitcoin or Ethereum or what's another good one? Litecoin. Functionally, it isn't. It has the value it has because the United States of America says it has. But there's a whole different blockchain involved called society, right? Which requires taxes below the federal level because taxes don't exist at the federal level that spend money into existence. But my point is that the dollar is hardly any different than cryptocurrency. It is different. It is handled differently. So let's keep them fucking separate. Again, we have one issued currency, the United States dollar. So why are we trying to integrate Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin and all this other shit? That would be like trying to do... If we are actually going to treat cryptocurrency as an actual currency, as an actual medium of exchange, then we may as well start accepting rubles and the Chinese yuan. But we're not doing that, are we? No, because that would be stupid. Just like integrating Dogecoin and Bitcoin and every other fucking coin into our economy is fucking stupid. Let that exist in its own ecosystem. Just let it exist in its own ecosystem. All right. Anarchist crypto utopian world. You just like money without government. I think if you're going to regulate cryptocurrency, you may as well regulate the WoW gold exchange, the WoW auction house. So no chance at strengthening the dollar. I don't think it would strengthen the dollar. I don't think it would do anything other than harm the dollar. And at that point, you may as well just adopt cryptocurrency as your primary currency and get rid of the US dollar. But then what about manipulation? Well, guess what? People manipulate the fucking US dollar too. It's called fintech. And these fucking financial firms like BlackRock is already manipulating the entire damn economy, which is, again, if you have a publicly owned society and industry, you make things because you make things, and people take things because they need them. They use things because they need them or they want to. There is no such thing as surplus. There is still such thing as supply and demand. But at the same time, you're not limited by this arbitrary valuation of the dollar. Left are so stuck being ethical, which makes us poor. Right. Which is why I didn't say I was a good person, but that I am trying to be president for the right reasons. If I have to be a little unethical, like getting rich from cryptocurrency, so fucking be it. What is my favorite crypto? That's an excellent question. Shiba Inu. Largely because I hope it makes me a billionaire. If that ever made it to $1, I would be so rich. It used to be XLM because I've actually used XLM as a method of exchange, and it was fantastic. Very cheap, very affordable, very accessible, very quick. But that product, that technology has fallen to the wayside compared to significantly others. So, a centuries young vampire. I mean, so how on earth did people come up with Bitcoin? Feels like they just pulled it out of nowhere and just tacked on its value. That is true. Again, Cryptocurrency is a byproduct of the technology known as blockchain, which is a secure algorithmic-based digital infrastructure technology. Now, that's the simplest way I know how to explain it. I am by no means a crypto expert or a blockchain expert, but blockchain can literally be a streaming service. It could literally be cloud software. It could literally be Excel spreadsheets. It could literally be video games, right? There's video games that are on the blockchain. And what's really neat about blockchain and video games, if I may nerd out a little bit, is, you know, when you play games like Diablo and or World of Warcraft, because I keep using that in the auction house, right? So say you have Thunder Forge of whatever that fucking legendary sword was. I can't believe I forgot the name of it. But say you have that sword. Well, guess what? In the blockchain, there is only one. So imagine you're playing a game and you are the only one who has that one asset, that one piece of armor, that one weapon, that one something or another. You can truly dictate intrinsically and limit how much of this goes around. You can also set it to infinite if you want, but you can also set it to 1. But there's no question or doubt. Well, you hacked. You used the command console. No, there is none of that, because it all exists within the blockchain all at once. So even if you had the console command to put, is it Thunder Fury? I think it's Thunder Fury, into your account. If somebody already had Thunder Fury, you couldn't even use the console commands. So in terms of gaming, it's next level. It is so fucking next level. It's like, bro, you have Thunder Fury? You're a fucking legend! Because you would be the only one with it, which does make you a legend. And if somebody wants it, well, guess what? For $1 million US cash, Thunder Fury could be yours. And now you've created an actual economy of assets. Everything else is just speculation. I have $1 and the bill is so lame and thin. I mean, you won't go for strengthening its declining value, would you? I see what you're saying. Okay. So, when the dollar depreciates, right? How do I want to explain this? The value of the dollar to you and me is always going to be 1. But compared to, say, the euro or the ruble or the pound, it might be worth more or worth less. So the stronger the dollar, the more equivalent or... let me rephrase. Right now, the pound and the euro are worth more than the dollar. So what I was going for was the stronger the dollar, the closer to 1-to-1 that becomes. So the idea that the dollar is weak or strong is respective to what can you buy in America with it and what is the rate of exchange with other countries. And then that's a comparison of their economic power per capita. So would I strengthen its declining value? Yes, I would, until I could completely subsidize all industry and make it publicly owned, at which point the value of the dollar is what we collectively say it is based on what we use it for, to the point where I could arbitrarily slash every single cost in America in half. Every single cost in half, whether that's raw materials, whether that's advertising, transportation, whatever. If it costs something, I could cut it in half unilaterally across the board. Does that necessarily increase or decrease the value of the dollar? Well, that depends. Have I slashed taxes? And have I raised the minimum wage? Or have I left all of that the same? Well, then it becomes, well, if you slash all the prices in half and leave everything else the same, isn't it just the economy of the 90s? And the answer is yes. And how much stronger was the dollar in the 90s than it is now? A lot. So there are many different ways to manipulate the value of something. But the more you try and add value to a currency, the harder it is to trade with other countries. which is why there's this like little balance type deal, right? And it's frowned upon by, industry leaders because then that fucks with their books, right? $1 billion looks a lot prettier than $1 million, even if that $1 million could buy more than the $1 billion could. Does that make sense? Because Carnegie was the first, was it Carnegie? I want to say it was Carnegie, was the first billionaire in the world. And he had 1 billion, one whole billion. But in the 1800s, that made him richer than Elon Musk. All right. So it's the context of what that dollar can buy. And we are devaluing the dollar by making things more expensive and stagnating the wage and raising taxes and interest rates. We are causing our own inflation. Does that make sense? So economics is about balance at the end of the day. But economics also doesn't actually exist other than in human society. What actually exists is the ability to produce things and to meet the needs of those who want those things. That's the only thing that actually exists. And if you try to produce an infinite amount of stuff on a finite amount of resources, that's called cancer, and that causes ecological collapse in any ecosystem, to include the fictional made-up one that we call the economy. Pop culture, to your question, right below Excalibur, yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. If they're just making things up, then it just feels like it's going to be doomed for failure because we have the one thing that dooms it, stupidity. Correct. That is exactly why... Oh, shit, what was it called? Fuck, the pictures. What did they call those? I forget now what they called the pictures. You know, the ape and all that shit? No, not... I mean, yes, that's not wrong, but they called it was something specific. NFTs. Yes, NFTs. That was actually NFTs. So NFTs were the idea that you could just put PNGs online and turn it into a crypto, and people would, accept that. And the thing is, that's not how that works. To include the fact that cryptocurrency doesn't work that way. Again, cryptocurrency is a byproduct of a technology that does something. However, because it involves mining using a computer and electricity, it adds value, the processing power of the computer and the electricity utilized, right? So that's the justification of how cryptocurrency has value, but realistically, it only has value because people assign value to it. 99.99% of people are not using cryptocurrency in the way it was actually intended, which is to interact with the blockchain. Like, do you know how to actually use Bitcoin to add data to the Bitcoin blockchain? No. All you have ever heard about it is that it was worth a shit ton of money, and it was worth a lot less a few years ago, and I was stupid for not buying it then. That's all we know about cryptocurrency. Nobody ever talks about the fact that XRP is a financial token that helps you transfer assets around. Nobody talks about that because nobody fucking knows or cares. All they know is XRP go brr to the moon. So, top comment, pop culture feels like they're playing God with the economy with new sources of money. Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Do I want the USA to remain the global leader? I don't think that's the question that needs to be asked. The question that needs to be asked is, do we deserve to be the global leader the way things are? And if I implemented my economic policies, Ronanism, would we not end up the global leader by default regardless? And I believe we would. I believe my policies would galvanize our crumbling economy, instill opportunity and possibility to the masses and dramatically transform our economy for the good. And in doing so, we would be able to restore our tarnished diplomatic relations with everyone and potentially engage in actual diplomatic trade relations, which would then spur all of the other policies that I had going on anyway. No, that is true, pop culture. Don't dabble in crypto if you're not comfortable with it. Yeah, NFT. Oh, no. Motherfucker. Son of a bitch. Are we back? Are we still here? That's the first question. I don't think I lost anybody. Well, we might have lost people, but is the stream still going? Okay, good. All right. I tried listening to Anna and playing revolutionary music for our breaks, but then I forgot that we actually still need Spotify running in the back. Otherwise, that shit'll happen. So, mea culpa. All right, so it's kind of like taking monopoly money and making it have real world value. That is exactly what cryptocurrency is. It is also a Ponzi scheme. It is everything that you have ever heard negative about any industry, to include Enron and the tech bubble, the internet bubble. That is exactly how cryptocurrency is being utilized. But cryptocurrency is a byproduct of blockchain technology, which is a thing that serves a purpose, right? It could be YouTube. There are social medias. There are video games, which I personally think should be the primary focus of blockchain, but that's just me. And it is also used for finance, data transfers, storage, etc. That is blockchain technology, but all blockchain technologies create tokens. All of them do. I don't know if that was intentional, but that is a direct intrinsic result of creating a blockchain technology. As far as I understand it, I actually don't know why it creates tokens. I really, truly don't know why that happens, but it is intrinsic to the blockchain. I don't need these stupid, selfish, ghoulish corporate drones creating new money. Neither do we, which is why my official stance as president is that the government should have no involvement with it whatsoever. Regulation, creation, development, payment systems, none of it. America, the government, should have their hands as far away as human fuckingly possible from cryptocurrency. But if you want to play around with it, and if businesses want to play around with it, that's fucking on them. But the government should have no involvement. Well, Sam, if businesses can get involved with cryptocurrency and they get defrauded, then shouldn't you step in and regulate that? No, because that was your fucking stupidity getting involved. Fuck around, find out. I'm sorry. The Constitution does not protect corporations. It protects people. But again, it's a very risky, very untested technology with its own economic ecosystem. It would be like saying, well, I spent all this money on wild gold and I wasted it all on repairs and I don't have good gear. I should get compensated. No, you're dumb. You are fucking dumb, and you made a mistake and you have to live with it. Now, granted, in Ronanism, under the 48th administration, there will be a lot of safety nets for you that if you fuck up that stupidly, you won't, starve to death, because I'm not going to let you starve to death. But I'm not going to reimburse you either for being stupid. Is that fair? Harsh. I'm not saying it's not harsh. That is very not nice of me to say. But I do feel like that's fair. All right. Okay, it still shows that I'm live. Chat just died on me. You guys were pretty chatty a second ago. Is everything okay? You're not going to starve to death? Fair. All right, so chat is still in session. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, and it fucking restarted our videos here too. That's crazy. All right, let's see more of this.
Warning.
Again,
don't believe
I know a lot about blockchain. Oh, wow.
You watch this entire
I know a lot about cryptocurrency
So
and
imagine opening
blockchain
your banking app.
from the very position that I just described of it is dangerous, it is volatile, but I'm desperate. And if it makes us rich, that means we can finally finance the revolution. So, like, I am going to sit here and say I am participating in the scam in the hopes that I can use it for the greater good. But it is a scam on the cryptocurrency side. On the blockchain side, it is a fantastic technology that could be very positively influential. Feels like blockchain's real purpose is to enrich the wrong people at the expense of the rest. In today's unstable economy created by these ghouls, it just plumps it full of mutations and crap. No. Blockchain's real purpose is to create digital infrastructure. Like, again, a crypto, blockchain, YouTube, blockchain, social media, blockchain, teaching tools, blockchain, X, Y, and Z. It's cryptocurrency, and specifically meme coins, who don't serve a real purpose other than as a medium of exchange or enrichment. Those ones are to pump full of mutations, and that is the Sam Altmans. But blockchain, the technology, could be absolutely beneficial to society. Cryptocurrency, not so much.
And seeing a Bitcoin tap.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the launch of these dollar-peg stablecoins could unlock a $2 trillion market.
Coffeezilla for Secretary of Commerce.
just allowed banks to hold crypto, and the Senate passed the Genius Act to integrate the multi-billion-dollar stablecoin market into the
Why not just go for the NFT ape for Secretary of Commerce and be done with it?
U.S. economy.
Legislative win for the crypto industry. The Genius Act passing in the Senate earlier this week. The bill establishing a federal framework for stablecoins and now going to face a vote in the House.
Stablecoin legislation is expected to clear the Senate this week. Stablecoins underpin most of the $3.3 trillion market for Bitcoin.
And the best part is that it's actually going to have real rules and regulations to protect consumers. And because all of this is happening, CEOs of major companies are starting to talk about it.
We've been embracing and building for years, preparing for this moment. The Genius Act has now passed the Senate, as you know, and is expected to...
I'm just saying. My opinion, but I feel like I speak pretty loudly here. When the CEO of a fucking credit card is excited about an act passing, and who has been heavily invested in preparing for the moment for this act to pass, is on CNBC exclusive saying, I've been waiting for this. The ghoul who's in charge of literally the second highest reason people fall into debt and bankruptcy, credit cards, especially in America, is excited, should absolutely worry and terrify us all. Hence why cryptocurrency is dangerous, it is bad, but it's risky and you might make money off of it. And we don't have many options other than winning the lottery. Anyway, not good.
Pass the House. I think that'll give regulatory clarity.
All right. No, you're absolutely right, pop culture. It's just like nuclear energy. Outstanding concept and promises to change and provide free energy to the whole world and end these stupid energy wars once and for all. And what was the first thing we did with it? Turn it into a fucking bomb.
To stable coins, and if stable coins become a mode of currency that people want to embrace around the world, we will enable that on the Visa system and scale that to those billions of endpoints. That's what you need to do well in payments. That's what Visa does better than anybody in the world.
Now here are the 4 game changers that I want you to know about that are happening right now. The Genius Act, the Clarity Act, the Bitcoin Act, and the Federal Reserve's own green light.
Okay. I knew there were a couple more acts. I didn't realize there were a total of 4. Jesus Christ. On the one hand, yay, I'm invested. On the other hand, This is some of the scariest finance news that you could ever come across. Yeah, and those are acronyms. I have no idea what they stand for.
For banks to get involved. Pretty soon, we're going to be able to easily send stablecoins across different networks, making instant, low-fee payments as easy as sending a text message. And what this will do is it's going to build a bridge between the legacy banking system and the $200 billion stablecoin market, and that will have huge consequences on assets like Bitcoin.
Yeah, that'll be trillions of dollars of impact. Because do you have any idea how much financial transaction occurs globally at any given time? We're talking hundreds of billions a day.
JP Morgan announced its own stablecoin-like product called JPMD. Payments firm Fiserv announced a stablecoin to pair with the 90 billion transactions that it processes every year.
And even Walmart and Amazon are reportedly looking into their own tokens.
You see how this is a bad thing? Oh, you don't have Walmart coins, so you can't shop here anymore. Oh, you don't have Amazon coins, so you can't shop here. What happened to the US fucking dollar? Oh, well, if you transfer US dollar coin to Walmart coin, that's going to be 30% fees. Because, well, we created it and we're going to do... Like, this is why I'm saying... Well, I guess I'm actually disproving what I should say. I guess I might have to retract what I was saying earlier about how, like, government shouldn't have any hands in it whatsoever. I guess that was from the lens of, well, if we publicly control all industry, then we won't have to worry about that because we would control it, right? So that would be ideal Sam Ronan president implementation. The reality is I would have to ban any stable coin that any industry created, period, dot, end of story. If you're a business and you're creating a stable coin, it's just like those fucking apps. Oh, welcome to our restaurant. Here's a QR code for our menu. Motherfucker, I will punch you in the throat so fucking hard before I use a goddamn QR code to use a menu to order your overpriced fucking burger, you piece of shit. I hope you trip and hurt yourself. So let me rephrase. Ideally, government would not be involved in cryptocurrency at all to include regulation because it wouldn't be the way that it is. The reality is, as 48th president in this timeline, I would probably have to bring the hammer down, as they say. Guiding and establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. There it is. Thank you, Tylo. The names never reflect what those acts are really about, which is true. Festival coins suck, though. Yeah, well, apparently you're going to have to use festival coins to buy Amazon coins so you can buy I don't even fucking know. That is a fucking technocracy nightmare. Whoa. Well, this is a little disturbing. I'm not going to lie. Can we switch? Thank you.
There's a lot that's going on, and in today's video, I'm going to explain each of these changes, restrictions, and show you exactly what this will mean for your wallet, your investment strategy, and the future of not just US, but global finance.
I'm pretty sure I was right.
Want to be ready for the next era of banking. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the crypto. This video is going to have a lot of complicated acronyms and safe cryptocurrencies that try to maintain a 1-to-1 ratio with the US dollar. So one stablecoin is always redeemable for one real dollar. And because they track the dollar, stablecoins don't swing 10 or 20% in value in a single day like something like Bitcoin might. They trade at roughly $1, give or take a couple cents. Now, why does that matter? It matters because stablecoins let you move money instantly, 24/7, anywhere in the world, no bank holidays, no multi-day wire delays, and with fees that are a fraction of the cost. You can pay rent, send dollars to family overseas, or move money between exchanges without converting back to dollars every single time. Now, in the world of decentralized finance or DeFi, stablecoins are the on and off ramp for everything, from lending and borrowing. Stablecoins give us the stability and familiarity of the dollar, and up until this point, they were not a big part of the US economy. But that's all about to change. Before Congress ever wrote a single line of crypto legislation, regulators flipped the switch on May 7th, 2025. The OCC dropped Interpretive Letter 1184, which officially told nationally chartered banks you may custody and transact crypto under our existing safe and sound rules.
OCC regulated banks may provide custody services, including the safekeeping and secure storage of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, all on behalf of their customers.
Probably one of the biggest questions that we get from our customers was, well, how do you really go about buying gold? One option.
Which is funny because now they're talking about gold. Again, gold was the original cryptocurrency. What value does gold actually have? And it kills me. It boggles my mind. Every time I have this debate about cryptocurrency, every time I have this debate about the economy, they're like, well, the stock markets and the value of gold, just go back to gold. Okay. The dollar has no value. Well, gold does. No, it doesn't. Who says gold has? Well, everybody. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Bulls are worth more than gold now. I'm a very extremely influential. I am fucking Warren Buffett, and I am now saying bulls are worth more than gold. I just made every single fucking middle class home millionaires overnight. Bulls are worth more than gold. Well, that's not how that. Yes, it is. If enough people agree on it and then exchange currency for the bull that is now worth more than gold, then yes, well, that's not the same. Yes, it is. Nazalone. Oh, and we got our first troll in a couple weeks. That was cute. So anyway, you need more haters. You see what you did, Apolitical? I need more haters, and you got me one. You need to shut your mouth. What we need is more support, right? We need more support. Gold is a shiny rock. Yeah, those golden curtains, they're so shiny. But yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, gold, no material on Earth has any actual value. There are asteroids floating the fuck around space with more gold than on Earth. Gold has no fucking value. None. Other than what it can be used for, like electronics. So, I feel like this is going to be a very nerdy type video, which I'm all about, but I don't want to bore you guys. And we do have a shit ton of videos to get into here. So, it looks like the Democrats found their spine for 2 seconds.
Email Beauvais' judicial nomination, but it is not without its fair share of fireworks. The Democrats on the panel, they got up and walked out of the vote after not all of them were allowed to speak. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian following that vote. Nicole, what happened here and why were some not allowed to speak?
You're a Christian fundamentalist? Well, then give us some followers, damn it, like actual supporters, so we can have 11.4 million people out there doing shit.
Well, it wasn't so much about that. It was the fact that, Democrats wanted more time to consider this nomination. More specifically, they wanted to hear from a whistleblower at the center of claims against Beauvais for alleged unethical conduct. And so they just said, look, this is a serious appointment. We just want more time to vet this. And so they wanted more time.
They threw a tantrum because they couldn't get their way. And they would have probably voted to approve. See, this is why I hate Democrats. I cannot stand the Democratic Party because they're just performative jackasses. All of them. If they're even sincere about their performance in the first place, which 9 times out of 10 they're not. Because didn't Hakeem Jeffries do a 25-hour fucking filibuster to turn around and still support the very next nominee that was on the fucking docket? Like, useless pieces of garbage. You just need to make some TikToks Gen Z style. Good, get the church on this stream. Let's go. Oh, Cory Booker, whatever. They're all the same. Cowardly pieces of garbage. Hakeem Jeffries has been doing whatever, talking, and then immediately supports the fascism anyway. Paid losers, exactly. They are... their only job is to undermine the entire left movement. And that's... yeah, the Green Party is just as feckless and useless because they don't even have power or elected positions. That's enough of that. Oh, that's the former lawyer. There it is. Yeah. Again, I'm not shocked that this is happening. I'm not shocked that this was even an option. That doesn't shock me. But like the blatant, oh, I wanted to talk more about the whistleblowing so I could still support you in the end anyway, because we're not going to actually impede this administration. We're just going to campaign on it thinking that's the same fucking thing. Unfucking believable.
Guess which student has a better chance of getting into an Ivy League school? First, take a look at Zach. He's valedictorian, National Merit Scholar.
His abduction and death shook New York City and frankly changed the way parents raise their kids across the country. In his face, the first to stare at us from a milk carton, ultimately elevating missing children nationwide.
6-year-old Eitan Pates disappeared while walking to his bus stop in Soho in 1979. Tonight, a federal appeals court granting a new trial to Pedro Hernandez, the man convicted of murdering Eitan.
ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky is here with more. So, Aaron, what happened here?
This has to be one of the most devastating conviction reversals ever for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, Mike, and for the family of a boy who disappeared in 1979. When Pedro Hernandez was found guilty in 2017 of kidnapping and murder after 2 trials, the family of little Eitan Pates finally thought it had some closure.
I am truly relieved, and I'll tell you, it's about time. It really is. It's about time.
5 years to life in prison for Pedro Hernandez. He served about 13 so far, but now a federal appeals court said he must be retried or released because of an error by the trial judge. Hernandez confessed on video to luring Pates into a basement as the boy walked to his school bus in Soho. But his initial confession came before police read him his rights. And when the jury asked whether it must disregard both confessions, the judge said the answer is no. Today's opinion said that instruction was clearly wrong and the error was manifestly prejudicial.
What? The actual fuck? How are you going to be a judge and go out of your way to overturn the conviction of somebody who fucking confessed? Like, I get everybody should have their day in court and it should be fair and it should be just and this, that, and the other, but like, that's the scummiest shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. Like, why? Why are we trying to free this man who has been found through the preponderance of the evidence, right? Okay, confession notwithstanding, was there not enough evidence? Like, what in the fuck? Evidently, judges can do pardons. That's where we fucking are with all this nonsense. But also, where is this kind of consideration for all of the black victims of police brutality? Where's all these considerations for, I don't know, the entire Latino community that is being terrorized by ICE? The judge is going out of his way for the murderer of a little boy, but these judges are doing fuck all to prevent brutality against black people, against women, or against Latinos. Are you fucking kidding me? Wow, that's something. Speaking of which,
let's get to this. It's making headlines across the nation this morning. A 22-year-old man in Florida now hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump and Harry Daniels. This is after he caught officers punching him on camera. Now, we're about to show you the video, but I do want to warn you that it is hard to watch.
Yes, it is.
You're still required to have headlights on. Can you pull that law up? Huh? Can you pull that law up? Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will. Can you call your supervisor? Huh? Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it. Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here. I'm here. What is your reason, sir? Step out. What is your reason? Step out now. All right. No. Stop fighting. Put your hands on your back.
Stop fighting? The fuck you mean?
Yeah, I don't like violence. Well, this happened back last February, and those are Jacksonville police officers breaking the window and punching William McNeil.
Oh, and a black
in that
cop,
video,
too. Don't forget him.
The officer said that they pulled him over because his headlights were off. McNeil responded by saying it wasn't raining or dark outside.
It's broad fucking daylight and it's not raining.
They announced that they would be representing him yesterday. The Jacksonville sheriff also announced that he is launching an internal investigation. So, developing story, but wow, that video was tough.
They don't believe how toxic
Are you fucking See, this is I literally just said this too, did I not? There's judges that'll go out of their way to free a white man murdering a little white boy. But where are the judges holding police accountable from literally brutalizing this black man who did nothing wrong, who exercised his rights? Okay, you're saying I'm breaking the law. Show me the law. I don't have to do that. Okay, show me your hands. All right, here they are. What are we even doing here? Now you're breaking my car window, dragging me out and beating me. What the fuck? What in the actual fuck? Wow. This is what I was afraid of when I got pulled over for no reason, as you unfortunately should be. I'm afraid of that, and I'm a white man. Granted, I'm afraid because I watch it, and then I forget, oh, I have white privilege, so that's probably never going to happen to me, other than the one time where it did. So, why do your cops always try to legally kill black people? Because after the Civil War, when the slaves were freed, they still needed forced indentured servitude to work for them. So they created laws and the police force for the first time to enforce those laws, which were predominantly directed at and enforced against black people so that they could be imprisoned and used for free prison labor, because the 14th Amendment or the 15th Amendment, 16th? One of those three, between the 14th and the 16th Amendments, one of those, made it explicitly legal to have prison labor. Explicitly legal to have prison labor, but not slavery. The 14th, I thought so. That was my gut. So, we're going to play some music real quick. I need to get more water because I got really riled up and I'm out. So, I think we all kind of need to come down from that, because that is infuriating. That is truly infuriating. All right, hold on. The music is coming any second now. Any second now. There we go.
platicaba de la revolución. Contaba que el ranchito pegado al arroyito fue herencia de su padre que se llamó Ramón. Mi padre fue aparcero, domador y vaquero, cabello alborotado, requemado por el sol. Gustaba echar guarache con un estilo apache y a veces le cuadraba un traguito de sotol. Yo estaba confundida cuando la despedida, un balde de agua fría, sentí que me cayó. Con cara de congoja, torció un cigarro de hoja, se echó al hombro la alforja y la puerta cerró. Brillaban sus espuelas, el rocío en lentejuelas, corrió por las praderas y ya nunca regresó.
Oh, okay, we're back. All right. So I don't know how many of us know Spanish, but that was Las Soldaderas from La Revolución Mexicana. So I was told that we should be playing more revolutionary music instead of techno. So the problem, though, is YouTube is doing this thing now where if you have an ad blocker, it just blocks you from playing music now. So there is that. But I also have a playlist for protest music, which we might try for those of us who don't know Spanish. Can you guys hear that?
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown. Accepted that soon.
So Bob Dylan. But I think we still got Spotify playing in the background, so we don't lose response. But anyway, I do have us some more music. So, I know we probably should. Okay, I don't want to watch this.
Do you have a car?
Because I don't want to be angry.
Record?
But
did you know that you could pay as low as $39?
I guess we should.
Yeah, Eric. Yes, sir.
I know that he was charged with resisting arrest without violence.
Yep.
But there was, when I go back and look at the other video, from the cell phone video,
yeah,
I can understand the officer punching the window out. But what I don't understand is...
First of all, how the fuck can you understand the officer punching the window out when the man wasn't fucking doing anything? He was complying. What? That's fucking disgusting.
Not rule criminal, sucker punching the guy in the jaw.
First of all, let me stop you. Not a sucker punch. I'm not excusing that administratively. I'm going to say that to you one more time. I'm not excusing that administratively. There are things that we definitely need to look at. But the context of this video should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. That your fucking officers assaulted a black man who was driving without the headlights on a sunny fucking day, and then was assaulted by 4 officers who were on a fucking power trip and looking to beat somebody up, and they found a black man who they know in Jacksonville they can get away with terrorizing. That's what they said. I'm not going to get through this whole video, so let's hear a couple more clips and then we're going to move on, because
again, I take it. It looks like it's a sucker punch because he's looking straight, and you see this,
right?
Okay, and then you see them pull him out, and then you see a couple of punches to the face. Now, again, I understand breaking the window, but he charged him with resisting arrest without violence. So I saw a lot of violence. I think the public saw a lot of violence.
Yeah, we fucking did.
That was not violent.
Well, first of all, Eric, don't try to talk the public into what they saw. They just saw the same videos you saw. So what we're doing, what I'm saying is that it is what it is. This is the information that I want to share with the public.
Love is making a comeback
in context
with extreme violence,
without a short clip. It's very important to do that because it provides a lot of information to the public.
And you brought up
It's important, let me finish. It's important for the people to know that you're not allowed to resist a police officer when he's doing his lawful duties.
And how is assaulting you his lawful duties? How is breaking your window lawful duties? And what do you mean you don't have the right to resist arrest? What's lawful duties? Oh, right, whatever the fuck police say it is? So when this officer who pulled me over for a bullshit law breaks my window and threatens my life and safety, I don't have the right to resist? Correct. In America, you don't. Because cops have Judge Dredd authority. And that's the fucking problem. Which is explicitly why my policies on law enforcement is to take away all of their power and to force them into very, 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 very tiny, very specific, very well-defined boxes that if they deviate an atometer from, they will go to fucking prison. Because fuck the police, fuck the sheriff department, fuck the highway patrol, and fuck this guy in particular for trying to gaslight people. So, Pokemon Legends has released the Mega... Okay. to absolve us, I see. I saw some law experts say that when the police tells you to get out of the car, you have to obey, but you got in trouble for getting out of my car. Right. Actually, I think he started with telling me to get out of the car. Then he told me to get in the car, and I was like, no, because you're pulling a gun on me. I'm definitely not getting back in the car with that. They do love to describe violence out of situations. Again, they always have a black man so they can pretend it's not a racist incident. Sure, I guess. But I'm pretty sure that sheriff believes everything that he's saying, too. He is a piece of shit because he is drinking the fucking Kool-Aid of fascism. I could give a fuck less what his race is. All right, let's do Epstein.
In President Trump's latest threat to journalists.
Somehow a child sex trafficker being covered up by the president is less infuriating than watching an actual hate crime on video.
Covering his administration and related scandals. He's threatening to sue the Wall Street Journal after an article was published.
Well, that would be great. That's how law enforcement should be. They are public servants, and if they are acting out of line, they should be treated as such. It's like Sarah Ahmed said, diversity can be used as a tool to preserve the status quo. And as we see, there are ICE agents who are Latino. There are cops who are black. And both of them are engaging against their own culture and ethnicity. And it's a fucking problem. The latest is that he is probably going to try to get Maxwell to say he was not involved in exchange for a pardon. Holy shit. Nope, that's pretty fucking infuriating. And again, we're powerless to do anything about it as individuals. Like, this is one of the most dangerous, terrible timelines ever. We have police that can act like Judge Dredd. We have POTUS, who is trying to bring back Nazi Germany. And then we have the Gestapo. We literally have the SS. Like, we literally have them right now, going door to door. And now we've terrorized Latinos enough. I guess we're targeting other demographics now as well? Great. So, no, that's pretty fucking bad. We got to skip your intro here, Amy.
Over the new allegations and their calls for the Department of Justice to release more Epstein files. President Trump said he's directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to seek the release of grand jury testimony, which a judge would have to approve and would likely have little new information, as only a partial set of pages from the massive amount of files that are called the Epstein files. On Thursday, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was asked if Trump would appoint a special prosecutor in the Epstein case.
None of those three have a soul.
Well, the idea was
she doesn't either.
From someone in the media.
Although I think she's more of a tool
would not
than
recommend
a soulless
special
drone.
Prosecutor in the Epstein case. That's how he feels.
Oh, she's wearing her cross
as for his
again.
Discussions with the Attorney General, I'm not sure.
This comes after the Trump administration.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, there are numerous victims who have come forward trying to throw Trump under the bus and being terrorized or murdered or bought off instead. It's fucking insane.
Said Wednesday it had fired longtime U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey, who helped lead the successful prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein and his former girlfriend and accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maureen Comey is also the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, who became a prominent critic of the president after Trump fired him in 2017. Trump on Wednesday dismissed the Epstein story as boring, but said he backed the release of any credible documents. He later lashed out against...
Okay, so this isn't new information. That's fine. Trump. I hope you see this one day. I really do. I hope you see it now, actually. Now would be an auspicious time to see it. Not only are your actions indicative of someone who is guilty and trying to cover up, it is belligerently obvious that you are guilty of something involving Epstein, up to and including the actual accusations that have been leveraged against you. And you deserve to be impeached for that and many, many other things. And if you aren't, by the time I become president, or you die before justice can find you, understand that in this life or the next, you will receive your just desserts for your myriad crimes. But if I, as the 48th president of the United States, am so fortunate enough to become the 48th president whilst you are still alive, it will be my distinct pleasure to bury you for each and every single one of your crimes, and to hold you accountable to the utmost extent of the law, and pushing the boundaries of what that may mean. Because you deserve every ounce of karmic and mortal justice that we can dish out to you. He fired the prosecutor for Epstein and Maxwell. Not suspicious at all. And is... yeah, I mean, and then hired the prosecutor to be the attorney general who pretty much prevented the cases from going to trial in the first place. Yeah, no, saying this in the USA, it's pretty fucking crazy what we have to do in this country just to... like, that's how fucking bad it is. All right. Are we gonna click?
Limu Limo at your service. Here to help you save hundreds.
Why does this fucking
like a
do
clear
that to
story
me?
of a group of elite people that are getting away with the worst crimes that could have ever been done, and that there's a cover-up, and if Trump's participating in
Dude,
that
I
cover-up,
don't even fucking know.
it's bad for his brand. That's my contention.
Yeah, I think that's the and if it gets bad enough, then he has to blame somebody.
Oh, am I supposed to have the microphone in my face? Do I need to get a stand?
I don't think it's going to scare any voters away from Trump. But I do think that it could create pressure on him enough where he would be worried about that, where he has to throw somebody under the bus, which could be really inconvenient. But even the problem with throwing her on the bus on some level, though, is that there's clearly something there. And I don't know
wanted
how
to see the Senate
allowed our investigators to look at portions of the file. We did that at the Treasury building. Here is what it says. Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that. 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there.
Oh, that's where that line came from.
Hundreds of millions more flowed through other accounts. That's even a lot more to investigate. The file shows that Mr. Epstein used multiple Russian banks which are now under sanctions to process payments related to sex trafficking.
I imagine those banks were all.
Whatever they're about to say, I'm probably going to say the same thing. It's always about the money, right? So follow the money, and that's exactly what that senator did. Now, again, not the order of the century, but he fucking delivered it, right? That's over 4,000 reasons to investigate. 4,000 lines. What did he say? He said it pretty well, actually. It was pretty cheeky.
That is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation.
That's what he said. So, enough said, right? So, why aren't we doing this? Oh, there is no list. Yes, there is. There were over 4,000 transactions from one account alone, totaling over $1 billion. And then multiple bank accounts through Russia that processed the information. Like, that's not nothing, folks. That is the evidence. That's how you get people for tax evasion. That's how they got Capone. That's how they got Capone. So yes, they can get the Epstein files. They can get everybody on the list. They're not going to. Why? Because everybody is complicit. Apparently, maybe not Mr. Wyden, or maybe he thinks he'll get a pass, but it's insane to me. It is insane to me how aggressively this administration is hiding it now that it is becoming public. Correct. We thought maybe, just maybe, his first presidency would be the new Watergate. Nope. Or some of the bullshit that Biden did, like, allowing genocide to go underway with his fucking blessing. Nope. We thought maybe the Nazi in office would be the thing. Nope. We thought maybe any of the other corruption things that he's been doing. Also no. It turns out the Watergate scandal is actually the Epstein scandal, which has already been around for almost a decade. But whatever. I mean, if it finally sticks, then let's fucking go.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the war frenzy. As Virginia Giuffre, an outspoken survivor of sex trafficking by Jeffrey Epstein, died apparently by suicide at age 41 in April. She was the first survivor to come out publicly against Epstein and his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who remains in prison. She also sued Prince Andrew for sexually assaulting her when she was 17. The disgraced prince was forced to step away from his royal duties and settled with Giuffre in 2022. Her family said in a statement, quote, Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors, unquote.
And yet somehow she, at the ripe old age of 41, decided, well, I've done my part. It's time to lose my battle with trauma. No. She's clearly traumatized. No questions about that. Very clearly traumatized. But she chose to fight against that trauma by going after the bastards that did it to her. And she succeeded. Until April? So, yeah, no. That needs to be investigated by everyone, multinationally, and she needs to be put on, like, the $20 bill or something. Like, she is an honest-to-God hero. An honest... Like, I get that she didn't serve in the military, but what she's doing is worthy of the Medal of Honor. I know there's a civilian equivalent, but there's no fucking way she killed herself. And the fact that's how it's being reported, and that's how it's being handled and treated, like, absolutely fucking not. And she said she wasn't going to kill her. Exactly. No fucking way. There's just no fucking way. So, I mean, okay, is this the documentary?
My family was very pleased that I was there interviewing with her, which is what the intention. That's what I thought I was there for, was an interview. And things went so amazingly well. And then she was so successful in all of that, very, I would call it, master manipulation. She was very calculated in her craft and did it very well. I was very young. I mean, I was an adult, 22 years old. However, I had such big dreams and aspirations and determination, and really wanted to make the most of this opportunity that I thought that I was getting, to the point where at the end of my time with Ghislaine Maxwell, although I hadn't known that there was a partner, as she referred to him, that I would be meeting at the end of my time with her. I hadn't heard Jeffrey or any other person's name the entire time, from beginning sitting behind the desk at work in California at the college, to meeting Sarah Cullen at the beach, to who then introduced me to Ghislaine. I had no idea that there was a final person that I was going to go meet. And once I learned of him, by the name of Jeffrey, I did not, I paused and thought about some things, waved any kind of red flag in my mind, because again, she was so, Ghislaine was so good at what she had done and built that trust in me. And so then I walked myself to Jeffrey's home later that day to what I thought was to interview with him, without really a lot of question, actually being quite excited, because I thought, well, if I was so successful here with Ghislaine, which he has really made me believe that I have been, now I get the opportunity to go complete this, like a second round of the interview. And that was really, I walked myself into tragedy. I had no idea. I actually should, and I will reframe that. I didn't walk myself into tragedy. I was lured there. I was coaxed there, coerced there, under false and fraudulent, conditions and expectations.
And it was then that Jeffrey Epstein assaulted you? That's
right. There in his very big, beautiful home there in Manhattan. The home that Ghislaine was raving about after I had been complimenting her.
Yeah, I don't know if that's any easier to listen to than the fucking sheriff saying that a hate crime is completely justified because it was cops doing it. It's so crazy to me a relatively small group of people is ruling and doing all of this evil. But see, that's kind of the crazy part of it all. That has always been human history. A few elites dominating millions of people. Except now it's so easy to find out who these elites are and to find out exactly how evil and cruel they actually are, and yet we're still powerless to do anything about it. That's the shitty, insane part of all of this, is that these people have power, are evil, are malevolent, are unapologetic about it, and are being defended. And if we speak out, we get suicided. North Korea's leader just trashed Trump for what's going on with Israel and Palestine, blaming him for the bloodshed going on with him supplying Israel with what it wants. Very ironic of them. Yeah, maybe we can add that on there too, North Korea. The fact that the POTUS has children performing right. That's, I think if I would follow politics in the USA too much, that I would get mentally ill crazy. Yeah. It's called burnout and rage. And if I didn't have a long history of alcoholism in my family, I'd probably drink. Yeah. That is the difference now. The people is that there are always bootlickers defending them too. Right. Because it's lucrative to defend these sociopaths, or they victimized you, but instead of you fleeing and getting away from it, you're capitulating and somewhat benefiting from it. One of the reasons why I have severe, that's one of the reasons why Americans generally have severe anxiety and depression, is because of the way things are in this country. I guess we should listen to this as well.
One platform, any website.
Since this is directly against Trump.
As promised is Maria Farmer, who says Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell sexually assaulted her. So she says she saw Trump at Epstein's office late at night.
Well, maybe because Comedy Central has more of a spine than ABC.
Epstein had just hired Farmer, who was an artist, to help him acquire art. Farmer urged the FBI to look at Trump's connections to Epstein twice, in 1996 and again in 2006, which, of course, means Trump's name could very well be in those government files that the administration is refusing to release. Maria Farmer is now suing the government to try to get the unredacted files about the allegations she brought forward about Epstein. President Trump has not been the target of any investigation related to Epstein, nor has he been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in this case. Maria Farmer is out front now for her first television interview, sharing her story since filing her lawsuit, and she is joined by her attorney, Jennifer Freeman. So thanks very much to both of you. And Maria, I want to give everyone a chance to understand exactly what happened here. I mean, you said that Jeffrey Epstein calls you to come to his office and you go, and then you're sitting there waiting, and Donald Trump walks in. What happened?
Yes. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me on, Aaron. I really appreciate it, because I need to say up front that I've waited 3 decades to be able to even be heard about this, because the government has not held any of the people I reported accountable. And so basically the night before I went in, before I began working for Epstein, he called me at very late in the evening and asked me to come up to the Helmsley Palace offices. And I didn't even have money for a subway token. It's kind of embarrassing. So I had to go running up there. And so I told Epstein, I'll be up there. It'll probably take me until like 9. He's like, okay. So I get there and I'm waiting. It's dark. Like there's no light on in the offices. And I thought that was really weird. So I'm seated against the wall in the main part of the offices and just waiting for Epstein. And he says, I'll be out in a minute, and he's got the door closed. And then a few minutes later, this man walks in a business suit, kind of tall, imposing. And I immediately was like, that's Donald Trump. What's he doing here? I'm supposed to be working for Epstein and interviewing with him. Why is Donald Trump here? And he walked up about, a few feet from me and just stood over me in a very imposing way and looked at me like he was in on some secret or something. It was really weird, like smirking kind of. And I felt threatened, so I made an ugly face. And when I made that ugly face, Epstein walked out from the offices on this side. Trump's standing here, I'm here. And he walks out of his office and he goes, oh, no. He was laughing at me. And he goes, she's not here for you. Follow me, right? And he escorts him in to this other room. And I always wondered, who was she in there? Was someone in there, right? And I have no way of knowing, nothing. But I felt very intimidated because I had on running shorts and I was vulnerable, sweaty, just a nobody in an office with these 2 men. That it felt very predatory and uncomfortable. I have to say that when I made that ugly face, he backed off. It wasn't like he was aggressive after that, but he made a really vulgar comment following. And I don't know if it was like, like locker room talk in the 90s, the way men were, but he made a joke to Epstein, oh, I thought she was 16. And I thought that was so strange because at the time my sister was 15 actually. And I didn't think it was funny, even though it was just a little bit inappropriate, but I thought, I don't know what it was. But anyway, and then they entered that room.
So Epstein says, she's not for you. And then when did Trump make the comment about your age? Again, you were 25 at the time, right? So, I mean, you were a 25-year-old woman. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
But
a
was it
woman,
after Epstein
right.
said that comment
But-
that he made the comment about age, or?
Yes. So he first said, no, she's not here for you, which immediately made me feel weird. Like, was there someone there, right, in that other room? And so that's another reason I was nervous. And so as soon as he said that, laughed, I made the face, all that stuff, they started to walk away into that other room where he's escorting him. He goes, come with me. And he takes Trump into this other room in the offices at 9 o'clock at night. And there's no one else in, that I know of in these offices, but was someone in that room. So I always wondered what that was about. And anyway, that comment was made under his breath as they were entering that room.
As they were in that room.
I thought it was rude. I don't care what age I was. Like, it's rude to say.
Which, Jennifer, I guess, brings me to where you are now. I know you're helping Maria now sue to get the unredacted government files related to her story. What do you expect these will show?
Well, we would really like to.
Yes.
Excuse me. We'd really like to understand what's in those files and because we really have never had access to them. We've been making FOIA requests, and we had to bring a lawsuit to get access to the files, as well as to hold the government accountable, which is what this suit is really about.
So, Maria, when you talk about the closeness of the relationship, when you were working for Epstein, you say that he was present very regularly. How close were they as far as...
Hold on, I realized I haven't said a single fucking thing, which probably is going to make this a copyright strike. This is some disturbing shit, because, I mean, what else is that supposed to imply? She's not for you, here's a dark room at night in this office, and then takes him in there and is like, oh, I thought she was 16. Like, bro, how is that not the smoking gun? How is any of this not the smoking gun? And then, yes, this woman is risking her life. She is one. I mean, if we find out in a week or two that she's dead through suicide, I mean, right. You heard it from us first. There's no fucking way. She's been spending 30 years of her life fighting for this. She's not going to quit and tap out now. She's not going to do that. Have you ever seen that footage of the nation turning on Romanian dictator? No, I have not. But I mean, there are definitely dictators who have already been dragged through the streets and shot and killed with their own weapons in modern times. So
you were able to tell?
Well, like Epstein said, he inherited him in the divorce. He said, basically, you're going to see us together all the time. We're fixtures, because in the divorce, I inherited Trump and Ghislaine inherited Ivana. So he said, you're not going to see him at the house the way you see Ivana, and you're not going to see her at the offices the way you see Trump. And, it was just, it was a known thing, like among the staff and everyone, that they were best friends. And Epstein bragged about it. And I gave up 30 years to report this. And it's a very serious thing to fight the government. Yes,
it fucking is.
Unbelievable. I've been fighting 2 cancers because of it.
Maria, when we reached out to the White House for a comment, they responded, and I'll just read for you what they said.
Okay.
Quote, the president was never in Epstein's office, and in fact, the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. They then say that Trump, they're clear there. They say he was never in Epstein's office, which, of course, from the original incident that you're talking about is where this occurred, according to your recollection, at the Helmsley building in New York.
He was absolutely in the offices.
So what do you say when they give a response
He's lying.
like this?
Yes. I say that they're being disrespectful to the fact that I have given up my entire life for this case just to have it investigated. And I'm really sorry for him that he's caught, but, I don't know what to say to that. He's lying. I don't appreciate it. He was absolutely at the offices.
That's so sassy.
And it was 9 o'clock at night. I thought it was inappropriate. But also, They were best friends at the time. So what I say to that is, I don't think he's really responding to the fact. And what does he mean, the offices? He needs to be specific, because he was in the Helmsley Palace offices. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate so much both of your time. And Maria, your choosing to speak out. I know that.
Well, dear Maria, get a bulletproof vest and some armed security, and some ADT wherever you're fucking at, because they're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you hard, especially the further you dig and the further you get into it. Again, if this is the thing that finally buries Trump, so be it. But if this is still ongoing by the time I become president, I mean, it's going to be a question of what to execute him over. Epstein, his crimes of dismantling the entire country, trying to become a dictator, violating the Constitution, terrorizing Latino people, like facilitating genocide. Like, take a pick. Like, you can only be put to death once, unfortunately. But each and every single one of those things is worthy of the death penalty. So I hope she has protection for real. Exactly. Crimes against humanity, war crimes. It's insane. Like, this man really and truly is far too dangerous to be kept alive. And everyone who's aiding and abetting him are conspirators, also guilty of the same crimes. You're in Nazi Germany-like country saying you would hang Hitler. Yeah, well, you know, when you were in high school and you and all your friends learned about World War II and Nazis, and all of you said, if I was in Germany during that time, I would have punched Hitler right in his fucking mouth. And then most of your friends in high school are now, you know, supporting Hitler, and supporting the Gestapo, and supporting, you know, or outright threatening people who don't. Yeah. I meant it when I said I would punch Hitler in the throat, even if I died trying, because I cannot imagine I would have heard Hitler say it's the Jews' fault and this, that, and the other, and just go along with it. I don't think there's a single timeline, a single incarnation of me in which that would be the reality, where I am a scum-sucking bootlicker. I don't see it. Yeah, true. This H guy is very unpopular. That is at least true. But he's very heavily supported by the people who run shit. So that's the problem. Dictators don't need to be loved or liked. All they need to do is be feared. And he is very quickly amassing fear. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of injustice. Not so much. Nope. And maybe I'm a bit too black and white with it, but there are some things that are just black and white. You're a pedophile? Get fucked. You support genocide? Get fucked. You want to terrorize minorities? Get fucked. You want to commit a hate crime while wearing a uniform? Get fucked. You want to make poor people suffer? Get fucked. There's a few things that are pretty fucking black and white. People asked, how did monsters like Hitler rise to power? And then they said, oh, you know what? Those Holocaust deniers have a good point. J.D. Vance. Okay. But no, how did Hitler rise to power? Just look at America in 2025. Or really, since the end of the Obama administration.
I think the people whose ancestors fought in the Civil War have a hell of a lot more claim over America than the people who say they don't belong.
One of the things that struck me is J.D. Vance can use his $5 words and he can try to give things a veneer of respectability. These are the same racist, xenophobic policies that we have seen from this administration since day one. And someone at TPM wrote this. I thought it was exactly right. What he is talking about is an America where heritage counts as much as values. And that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Do we want to redefine American identity to be about heritage? And would J.D. Vance like to know about all of the Mexican Americans who fought during the U.S. Civil War?
Or the fact that Mexican Americans became Mexican Americans after the Mexican-American War and the annexation of fucking the entire West. Also, why is Jimmu Green still relevant? Because I debated her in the DNC on CNN, crushed her after she tried making me out to look like a racist, and then I got sidelined by all of politics, and she's still a relevant commentator? How the fuck?
It is, let's play a little bit more of this, because I think people really need to understand that this is exactly who J.D. Vance is and why it is so just, and the opposite
Am I wrong?
of American.
Maybe this isn't Jimmu Green. I just got severe Jimmu Green vibes from her. Well, it doesn't say who's in there. Okay. Anyway, maybe. Oh, that's Sanders? Okay.
Identifying America just with agreeing with the principles, let's say, of the Declaration of Independence, that's a definition that is way over-inclusive and under-inclusive at the same time. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, it would include hundreds of millions, maybe billions of foreign citizens who agree with the principles of the Declaration of Independence. Must we admit all of them tomorrow?
I just want to note that the words in the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, it wasn't just a slogan. That is a political thesis. The idea that in America, what makes you American is not your heritage, but your equality and your values. And the founding fathers rejected this idea of what some experts now are calling it. What he's talking about is blood and soil, like nationalism. Yeah. And the founding fathers rejected.
Guten Boden was literal Nazi shit, by the way. That was their literal slogan.
You can look at the Federalist Papers #1, the Federalist Papers #10. They were very, very clear that America is not going to be a country based on heritage. Because to be very clear, Alicia, and Michael are just as American as J.D. Vance.
First, we offer overnight boarding.
Well, as Apolitical was saying, it's crazy that we live in Hitler's Germany and are trying to fight against it, because we 1000% are. I don't know that I'm going to be able to watch too much of this either without getting enraged, but let's...
33, and right now ICE agents are continuing to crack down on illegal immigration, and their latest efforts involve hundreds of arrests in the Houston area.
Yeah, this is our first look at some of these numbers. Ugochi Aloka joins us live this morning. Ugochi, last hour you talked to us about how the arrests are connected with migrants and criminal backgrounds. How many total are we talking about here?
Hey, Jacob and Steph, that's correct. At this hour, we know in June alone, ICE arrested 1,361 people living in the Houston area that the agency claims entered the U.S. illegally. Now, some of those arrests, we understand, included migrants who were deported several times. Some were arrested for robbery as well as homicide, and one was even convicted of hijacking an airplane from Cuba flying to Florida in 2003. Take a look at your screen here. ICE arrested David Lazo Alvarenga.
Again, this is why I'm getting angry. This is propaganda to justify the ICE raids, which, fine, there are illegal immigrants, quote unquote, undocumented immigrants who are here who have committed crimes, and maybe they shouldn't be in this country. Cool. There's still a criminal justice system to put them in prison. You don't need to terrorize an entire demographic to do so. And you only listed like half a dozen folks. So what about the other 1,300 migrants who are just here on visas that you're not talking about? I'll give her a chance to talk about them, but I doubt it.
Houston for entering the country illegally from El Salvador. ICE also arrested Jose Mesa, who they say illegally entered the U.S. 4 times and was convicted of sexual assault of a minor. Then you have Javier Gonzalez, who was also arrested last month. He was convicted of sexual indecency with a minor. Now here's a breakdown of the accused criminals: 32 child predators, 9 murders.
All right. So, is that terrible? Yes. 32 predators, 9 murderers, 16 gang or cartel members, 1 convicted of an airplane. However, that is, 26 plus 32, which is 58. That's 58 people. So there were 58 criminals that they got out of 1,361, which means there are 1,303 innocent victims that they just went after. So they went after 1,303 innocent people to get the 58 that were actual criminals, which I'm not understanding because, again, if the whole point is to get dangerous people off the streets, why are you going after every person that's brown? So no, this is propaganda, and it's fucking disturbing. KHOU 11. Fucking disturbing. That must be Houston news. Houston is literally aiding and abetting the propaganda machine, which, again, precludes free press. We don't have free press if they are perpetuating the fucking propaganda. Right, do they have proof of the 16 gang members? Right? And I don't, honestly, if they do, great, even better. They found 16 real gang members. But the problem is, they knew about this. They had to have known about this, otherwise they wouldn't be able to engage in the raids. So this tells us several things. One, ICE had a list of known criminals for years, for over a decade, and didn't do anything about it. Now all of a sudden they are. Okay, great, they are. Wonderful. But in so doing, they're also terrorizing regular folks who have visas here or who haven't committed crimes, which they also knew about because otherwise they wouldn't be able to find these people. So whether you're here illegally or not, the government knows. So then what is all this other than an act of domestic terror funded by and carried out by the United States of America through ICE? That's not okay. That is a crime. The act of terrorizing a demographic is itself a crime. It's called terrorism. Make thinking mainstream again. I'm actually getting dumber from this. Yes. Now imagine how we feel. Get some spare brain cells. But here's the thing. Brainwashing plus ChatGPT destroying the ability to critically think, plus the propaganda from Fox News, which is arguably doing the same thing, the only way to combat that is to get rid of the propaganda and to direct people to not the propaganda. But guess what? Algorithms feed you what you want to see. If you want to drink conspiracy theory bullshit, you don't have a choice other than to search for that and it will be fed to you. Like, this stream will not reach somebody who's MAGA, 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 MAGA. It just won't. There is no algorithm in which Twitch or Amazon or whoever will send this video to somebody who agrees with ICE. There is not a single algorithm where that will happen. It won't happen on YouTube. It won't happen on Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok either. So not only do you have confirmation bias, you also have a technology that exists to create information bias or confirmation bias so that you stay on the platform longer. Because if you get angry and shut it off, guess what? You're not on the platform. Their advertisers aren't making money from ads, and therefore you are worthless to them. So the whole point is to get you addicted to the screen and then to feed you stuff from the screen that you want to see. Me? I like seeing food. I love seeing food in cosplay. But mostly the food, right? In cosplay. But the food is amazing. I love the food. It's so thick and juicy. And then the dark chocolate just kind of just sits on your face. And I'm still talking about food, I promise. And it's just ooey gooey and delicious and warm and wonder and fills your body and soul with warmth. And I find myself blinking and 2 hours have gone by. I'm a victim of it just as much as anybody else. The food gets me. You know, sometimes there's other stuff on there. The funny ha-has, the comedy. Yeah, the comedy. But at the same time, if I was going on looking for political stuff, I'll see political stuff that I want to see. Or that I agree with, or whatever else. But then it turns into police brutality, and then I'm angry, and then I'm swiping. Oh, more anger. I'm posting. This is bullshit. More anger. Posting. This is bullshit. Guess what? I'm interacting. So even though I'm doing my job as a citizen to inform the people that bad shit is happening, I am still being sucked into the algorithm. The difference is I'm aware of it, and I can actually peel myself off of it. All right, that's enough of that. Let's move on to the next thing. Most people can't. And social media is predisposed towards right-wing ideology. I don't know when that happened, actually. I don't know when that happened, but Twitter, well, okay, Twitter, we know why. But same thing with Facebook or TikTok or YouTube even. The conservative pipeline is what comes on your feed the most. And that's scary because that's what they're pushing because they know it has high interaction rates. So these tech giants and these social media platforms are promoting white supremacy and alt-right conservatism and this, that, and the other because it gets clicks, which is then frying everybody's brain. So you have to combat big tech, corruption, propaganda, and the technology itself just to maybe reach one person. And then you got to convince that person to get off of that pipeline. That's a tough fucking pill to swallow unless you're rich and you can afford the ads and the platform building and this, that, and the other. Right. I mean, I grew up in this country. I've always been fairly left-leaning, but I was certainly more right-leaning before I entered the military. And I bought into the war on terror and that Muslims were the enemy too. Until I went to a Muslim training, religion thing. And I don't know what else to call it other than training because it was in basic. And then I learned, Islam is not a scary terrorist religion. It's just a religion. The terrorists are terrorists. That's all they are. And then I started improving my worldview after enlisting, no less. So yes, propaganda 1000% works on anybody, no matter how intelligent or not you are. I watch one video about something and my whole feed becomes about that if it's something that they want to push. Yep. I can attest to that until it got weird, right? What do you mean got weird? Cosplay. That is what you become if you are on Facebook for 9 hours a day. 14. I watch a lot of anti-establishment political content, and YouTube is always pushing right-wing content because that is what's considered anti-establishment. Yeah, the comments on her Facebook are brain dead. They surely are. It is not as bad for me on Facebook because I have 0 right-wing friends. True. That is true. Sam had to convince me to stop reading the comments because I kept getting into arguments. Yes, because you would spend all your time doing that instead of social media curation. It absolutely is a vicious cycle of misery. So, yes, social media is the devil and it's designed to be that way. All right. What do we got here? Milk?
98% of the fruits and vegetables and 86% of the milk in this country is harvested by migrant hands. 86% of the milk, 98% of the fruits and vegetables. H-2A workers, fruits and vegetables, you can only be here 9 months, and then your farm has to be worker-free, and you get surprise inspections. Make sure that there are no H-2A workers on your farm for 3 months. Cows don't understand that, okay? This is, 365 days a year. Nobody gets it. There's absolutely no program for the worker who has to be on site 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. We need these people, not just in agriculture, but because agriculture is the 3rd largest employer of undocumented. Construction needs them, and certainly the service industry.
Look at this chaotic scene.
What kills me about the conversation, though, about illegal immigration, is it always gets framed to what we need. We need them in agriculture. We need them in construction. We need them in the service industry. We need them to do the slave work. I mean, the work that we white people don't want to do. We want our slaves, our migrants, our H-2A visa workers, to do this grueling field work that we are just not going to do because that's the job of slaves. H-2A workers. Literally, this country was built on the back of slaves and continues to be built on the back of slaves. It's just the skin color and the country of origin has shifted from Africa to Latin America. And honestly, in many cases, it still is Africa. Let's be very brutally honest. There are plenty of migrant workers from Africa that are still working these grueling jobs. And that's what kills me. We need migrants in this country because we are a melting pot country. We need migrants in America because diversity built America. The ideology of diversity is what allowed America to flourish. It's what built our bridges. It's what built our roads. It's what built our schools. It's what literally made us the economic powerhouse of the world and the envy of the world up until about the 60s with our education and healthcare system. It was because of the diversity that we had. You know how many black people and Hispanic people and women invented the technology we take for granted? 99%. HVAC, Bluetooth, the internet, the combustion fucking engine, the electric engine. The vacuum cleaner, dishwasher, gauze. So like the gauze, right? Which also ended up being used for tampons. Most electronic devices, microphones, cell phones, mice, the USB, programming. All of this shit can be attributed. Peanut butter, black man. All of this stuff that I just listed off can be attributed to men that were of color or women regardless of race. Oh, but it was actually, no, because if you look at the histories, it was wrong. Men stole these ideas. White men stole these ideas. Jack Daniels owned the dispensary. It was a black freed slave who actually brewed the Jack Daniels. A freed slave who actually did the Jack Daniels, the whiskey, right? All of our cuisine, all of our dance, all of our music, most of our art, black people. So no, we need migrants in this country because, culture. Or we could say because the diversity of a multicultural society and the homogeny that itself creates, that mosaic becomes the homogeny of the identity of the state, is what makes this country different from every other country, which has thousands upon thousands of years of history, aside from the colonies from the British Empire, like Canada and Australia. Every other country, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Egypt, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Brazil, China, Mongolia, right? All these other countries in the world have been around for centuries, for millennia. And they have their culture from that entire time span. And that's great. Let them have it. But America's culture, our culture, is the diversity of ideas and thoughts. And we should embrace that. But unfortunately, we were built on white supremacy and slavery and colonization and genocide. So the people in power who committed all those atrocities don't want to relinquish it, which is why we continue to this day to have genocide, white supremacy, and all this other bullshit. We need migrants because we are better as a country and as a people with migrants than without. Not because they're willing to do the work that none of us want to do. I sure as shit do not want to pick vegetables. I sure as fuck do not want to clean dirty bedding from a Motel 6 that was used for God knows what. Fuck that. And my ass would die on top of a roof. Period. It doesn't even matter if it's hot, cold, or otherwise. I am clumsy. I will fall off the roof and I will die. So no, I am not cut out for that kind of work. I would never do that work. I can do maintenance. I can turn a wrench. But those trades, fuck that, right? There are people willing to do that who might even be white. Great, let them. I'm not doing it. But their labor is not their value. All right? They are not a fucking commodity. Migrants are people who enrich our culture and society with their presence, not because of what they economically or productively provide to some piece of shit capitalist. The videos of white people trying to do the work that immigrants do are hilarious. It's true. And also the studies and the histories about it too. Like they actually had a work program in like the 1940s or 50s or something like that in the United States of America to encourage college youth or like white college men to do field work. And they quit in droves within 2 weeks. I have a professional job, so I guess I can get deported. I guess. Gauze was invented by Gazans? I thought gauze was invented during World War II. But I'm not going to say otherwise. This is to save Europe's kids' worst nightmare. I never realized how mainstream white supremacy is. It is literally written into the Constitution. It's the 3/5 compromise. Some white dude told Mehdi Hassan that white people are indigenous to the U.S. Wow. That's audacious. Basically, the whole world is built on it. That's why there's colorism in non-white countries. Due to white supremacy and colonialism, closeness to whiteness equals powers, which is unfortunately true. Yeah, white people food. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like me a good old cheeseburger. I'm sure that's white people food. I'm pretty sure, I hope. But yeah, most white food, like German cuisine, is very hearty, but bland. And not spicy. We can't handle the spice. No, it was Gazans. That's why the name is actually Gaza. Well, damn, I didn't know that. I learned that. You would think they would have taught that in the military, because that's where I learned the whole gauze was used in the battlefield, and then women realized, hey, I could put up this and take care of you know what. That's what we learned in the military. Go figure. All right, we got a quarter of an hour left. If this thing will let me change screens. Oh, goody. Time to get angry. Let's go.
Out of California, protesters coming head to head with agents as they carried out an immigration raid. This is at a cannabis farm. That multi-hour standoff, it's the latest clash over President Trump's immigration crackdown. And NBC's Ryan Nobles has more. Ryan.
Yes, this was a dramatic standoff that lasted for multiple hours in California.
You see how he has a receding hairline? It's because he's an evil piece of shit who's about to promote propaganda. That's why he's losing his hairline.
Raids on farms have become a flashpoint in the debate over President Trump's larger immigration policy, with some opponents pushing back.
This morning, the fallout after dramatic clashes between federal agents and protesters. Agents from ICE and Border Patrol raiding 2 locations of a cannabis farm in California yesterday. And Ventura County, the scene growing tense. NBC Los Angeles reporting that officials were seen using flashbangs, smoke, and chemical irritants to keep the crowd back as the confrontation unfolded. Crimes. Video showing an unidentified man appearing to fire a weapon. The FBI now offering a reward for information about him.
Do not offer information about him, because they did the same thing for Luigi, and the fucking Karen from McDonald's did that and didn't get a single fucking penny. They are using you to turn you against your fucking comrades. Don't you fucking turn this guy in whatsoever. Because if you believe in the American Constitution, then you damn well better believe in the Second Amendment. And if you believe in the Second Amendment, then you damn well better recognize that this is tyranny and oppression. And that we all collectively have, the right to defend ourselves from tyranny and oppression. So fuck off and leave this man alone.
Protesters also facing off against federal agents raiding another location of the company, Glass House Farm. One Democratic congressman saying He was denied entry to the site. The Department of Homeland Security saying the agents were executing criminal search warrants. Glass House Farms saying it, quote, fully complied with agent search warrants. It's part of the larger immigration crackdown that President Trump promised through the campaign. California's Governor Gavin Newsom saying the White House's tactics, quote, evoke chaos, fear, and terror within our communities. While raids on farms have continued, President Trump last month expressing concern for farmers.
We can't put the farms out of business.
This week, the White House saying it will carry out immigration enforcement of farm workers in a, quote, strategic way.
There's no amnesty.
What's fucking strategic about attacking 98% of the workforce who actually
borders are
does
addressing
farm
protesters at the White House yesterday?
They can protest all they want, but if they cross the line, they're going to be arrested and they're going to be prosecuted.
And this morning, Tom Homan, who is, of course, Trump's borders are, responding to the protests and shooting.
This is the part that also kills me. We're just casually referring to Tom Homan as the border czar. Casually, and not calling it fascism, not calling it what it fucking is. We're just casually referring to him as the border czar and just talking about whatever topic that somehow is related. Like, no, quit espousing and spewing propaganda. This is infuriating. This is infuriating. Oh, and now the military is going to temporarily house migrants. I can't watch that. That's going to just blow me sky high. Oh, here we go. At least this motherfucker got his
using the
comupon.
The body pod lets you easily understand what is the fastest.
As soon as I found out
let's see. I have a video on the list of the owner of some factory or farm getting beat up for not paying his workers and calling ICE on them. Yes, I hope that's this right now. People here know it's bad with Trump, but I am really sure people here are not that aware of how fascist USA is becoming. No, because I spoke with my German cousin who lives in Germany about the terrorism that Israel is committing against Palestine, and her constant response is, but what about Hamas? Hamas needs to be held accountable too. So no. Europe is also very much so in the dark about what's happening in America and internationally. That is the point of the second. Exactly. Even many people here don't get it. Exactly. Homan is literally an orc. No, orcs are actually cool and intimidating. He's a piece of shit. He's a goblin at best. They used to hate calling them czars until they got power. I guess so. And Obama appointed that piece of shit. Shocking. I call him Honan-y, the clown. Okay. He makes Shrek look like Henry Cavill. Exactly. There we go. Although Shrek is a handsome ogre. We are in the dark. They cut resources that keep us from knowing what's going on. Aside from that, it's also the propaganda and the fact social media keeps pushing right-wing narratives, and that the news reports propaganda as if it isn't propaganda.
fourth day, I got my stuff ready and drove back up to Tacoma.
Alondra Sotelo Garcia says the past month has been difficult for her family. Her father, Moises Sotelo, who was operating a wine services business in Newburgh, was arrested in June by ICE agents. A spokesperson for ICE says he has a criminal conviction for driving under the influence, but we couldn't find any record for it, and neither could Yamhill County. At a court date.
Okay, so first of all, ICE lied and said that, well, he was driving under the influence, DUI. Okay, cool. How many people do you know have a DUI on their driving record, and how is that justification to fucking terrorize someone? Are you fucking kidding? I have a DUI, so you can just pull me over and send me to El Salvador? Is that what we're really trying to fucking say? On top of that, there is no evidence of this DUI from the county fucking records, which, by the way, even if your record is sealed or expunged or whatever else, there's still record of it at the county. It doesn't just go away. It just means you can get a job without having to lie on your background check saying you didn't commit a crime. So no, this is absolute horseshit. Well, he has a parking ticket, so we have to kidnap him in broad daylight and terrorize him and then deport him to El Salvador. That's Nazi shit. That is Nazi shit. That is Raus den Haus, Juden. That's Zeig mir deine Papieren. Juden muss raus von Deutschland. Like, all you have to do is replace illegal with Jew or Jewish or Jews, whichever you prefer, and it's the same fucking thing. Oh no, because Jews and Latinos aren't the... Yes, they fucking are in this context. Where's the fucking...
In Tacoma
wait.
earlier this week,
This
the
is
family
the
found
business
out
owner. So it wasn't the white motherfucker. Hold on a second. Where is that video?
Show me the warrant.
Oh, well, here we go. Good news.
Show me the fucking warrant. I'm a fucking citizen. Fuck you.
Just asking you if you can please come out.
I'll come out if you guys step fucking back, dude. I have my passport and my license. I'm a citizen, man.
Now just do me a favor. Can you put your arms right here? I just want to check you for weapons, okay?
For what, dude?
I just want to make sure.
Look at, dude. Look at that. That's all I have. I don't have anything else, dude.
Here, I'm just gonna give you a quick cocktail.
Dude, for what, man? For what? I don't have anything, dude. I have my fucking wallet, and that's it, dude. I don't have any weapons, dude. I'm not
Check you.
you, motherfucker.
All right, we're just gonna check you real quick,
Dude,
okay?
for what? Dude, I'm gonna I don't fucking have anything, dude. Don't fucking touch me. Okay.
Well, this isn't... Oh, confronting and then getting... Yeah. I see. I thought that was going to go a little differently. So, yeah, we are straight up... like, this is Nazi Germany. I mean, I don't know how else to say... Honestly, I kind of want to put a playlist together, a 24-hour loop, so that when I'm not live streaming like this, just put a live stream of looping all of these encounters 24/7. Because this is Nazi shit. This is Nazi shit. This is literally Nazi shit. And we shouldn't be afraid to call it what it is. I did want to watch the video of that piece of shit get attacked by the guy. Oh, this is the one. So this motherfucker in the white hat right there called ICE on his employees because he didn't want to fucking pay him. And this is the result.
What, bitch? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Fuck out, motherfucker. Piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean,
And also, this is like one of the very few times where a piece of shit like this is actually held accountable. Because again, all these arrests and all of these terrorist attacks by ICE against people has never resulted in the owner being targeted. And these are just protesters. He's not being arrested. Yeah. I mean, this crowd is like seconds away from stomping him to death. Which, although would be poetic justice, is obviously not okay. Or at least not at this stage. The time for getting stomped to death has not arrived. But then again, that would make an example. It would send a message. Alright, so we get to end on a bit of a high note. I'm okay with that. Piece of fucking shit. Alright. Glad I'm nuanced. As I have basically used every swear word as a comma for the past 30 minutes. Because we were watching terrible Nazi shit happening. Yeah, I'm glad my nuance with swearing is pretty elite. So, that was Tuesday's weekly recap with, oh great, I'm swearing in front of the child. That makes me feel really good about myself. Spoiler, this is not a channel suitable for children. Hashtag get fucked. No. So this was the Tuesday recap stream. All of what we watched, or at least most of what we watched, happened in the past week. The past 7 days in the United States of America. Everything from those ICE raids, everything from the cryptocurrency, everything from the Epstein revelations and so on and so forth. Everything we covered today has all come to light in the past 7 fucking days. Tomorrow, we can talk about foreign affairs Wednesdays. And we will discuss what's going on in the rest of the world for the past week. There's obviously going to be discussion about Palestine, which is now entering the 5th and final stage of starvation, which I don't know if I ever saw the name of what that's called, but it's the 5th stage where even if they were to receive aid, they will still likely die or suffer long-term consequences. Because not only is America turning into Hitler's Germany, the rest of the world seems to be wanting to do the same. Because we live in the shittiest fucking timeline with no resources to combat it currently. Which is why we are streaming to make this a reality so that we do have the resources and infrastructure to combat this fascism. Because living with this every single fucking day is infuriating. So I hope to see you all tomorrow. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. We will be discussing foreign affairs. Hopefully there's some good news to share as well, because our boy Traore, El Capitan, I'm sure has something to say that we will all be delighted to hear. Until then, have a great night, and see you tomorrow, and try and stay sane. President out.